Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 77 of Power Bombshells. I am Sam. That is Mel. We are not your typical broads talking about your typical wrestling. We have a lot to talk about this week.
What?
I thought the one big story this week was gonna be Vince McMahon, and I think most people forgot about that story, but we're gonna talk about it because it's a big deal what happened with him. But we have a lot of other things to talk about, which we'll get to. But we're trying to do some fancy things that we didn't get to. There was a lot. I think Mel and I have talked more this week than we have in a while because we were just sending things back and forth to each other and be like,
We couldn't help it. There
we're
was
like, are we
so
covering
damn
this?
much going on.
We're
Girl,
like,
we started a conversation.
yeah, right. And then we're just going back and forth, like, okay, do we cover this? How do we cover this? And then there was like, then I was like, hey, when you get a chance, can you update your G1 notes that you sent me?
So you do want me to update them?
If you want to, we got to. So we took a couple of nights off because Thursday after ROH and me writing my article, we ended up tuning into Revolver, which was a really good show. John Moxley was supposed to be on that show, and then he got pulled because the next day was, or I guess wherever they were, whenever they filmed Parking Lot Fight 2, they pulled him, but they replaced him with Takeshita. So so we got Takeshita. So we got Takeshita versus Gringo Loco, which was not a match I knew I needed, but it was fantastic.
I bet that was really good, actually.
Yeah, it was really good. So I was like, I do want Gringo Loco versus John Moxley, but I didn't know I needed his match with Takeshita, and it was really great. And I got to see, and it was like the opening match was Chris Sabin versus Master Slamovich. Like,
oh,
yeah, it was
interesting.
Great. Yeah, so it was a really good show. So we watched that instead, and then there was just so much wrestling on Friday, and so I was like, we should have got caught. Or no, it was Wednesday. I think it was. We didn't watch G1. So we are now in the middle of night 10. We just started watching random matches, and so the last thing we saw was Shingo versus Tama Tonga, ending in a draw, which didn't need to happen.
Yeah, I did see that one.
That match was kind of just on.
I'm up to August. I'm starting August 2nd. I don't know exactly which night. I don't know the nights. I know the dates.
I'm going by. We're middle of night 10. So like I already knew we watched some things from night 9, and then we watched some of night 10. So night 9, I already knew going into it about Ospreay, Okada. I already knew who won because
I don't follow long before I saw the match. The match was just awesome.
Yeah, Will came up in my timeline, and I didn't really think about what it said, and then Kyle Fletcher quote tweeted it, and that's how I realized. I was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. So we got into that. I loved Yano versus Jeff Cobb was great.
You want to know the thing about Yano versus Jeff Cobb for me?
Yes, I do.
That I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I realized I was like, because my first feeling was, oh, they're not going to have, Jeff Cobb's undefeated and all these things. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's fighting Yano. And I swear to God, like my brain went, oh, shit. I just knew. I knew.
Of course. Yano has to play spoiler. That's what he's there for. Besides comedic entertainment, he is there to spoil your bracket.
I just knew it. I was like, damn, I love Jeff so much. I know where this is going. I get it. It's just, bummer.
Yeah. They can't let us have anything nice.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, so we were catching up on stuff. I saw some things this morning a little late. I didn't see a whole lot, but like related to ELP and something he might be getting ready to do, but I don't want to spoil it because I don't think Nikki has seen it. So I'm trying to get caught up, and like I was like, I don't know if there's anything else. Because we weren't even gonna watch Tama Tonga versus Shingo, but we were like, that's when we were like getting ready for bed, and it was just kind of on, and we weren't getting off of our phones because there was so much happening last night. And I'm so glad. And if you're here and you watch SummerSlam, this is not to offend you, but I briefly considered tuning into the main event, and I'm very glad that I didn't. after I saw my timeline's reaction and that the match was really long and all that good stuff. But if you do want to know what happened on SummerSlam, then there are two things that you can do. You can go to the Fight Game Media YouTube page and you can either watch the shorts that Garrett and John LaRocca put out, and there was one that had a wild appearance by a wild Jeremy Feinstein appeared.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, wait a minute. When he was in, I'm glad that you guys were trying that out last night. When I was
I had
saying that,
actually
I was
forgotten
like,
that Garrett and I had talked about it, and then I saw it pop up in my timeline, and I was like, oh, let me go like post about it to my page and Powerbombshells and try to like make sure it's getting some reaction. And so I was posting that, and but yeah, so they did that after every match last night, which was really cool.
really?
And then poor Lanite, his video had for hours had like 5 views on it, and then like every other video was like 80 views.
Oh,
and then Logan Paul had, and then like the Logan Paul video didn't have that much, and then I guess people were seeing obviously his name, and it like blew up to like 200 views, and Lanite had like 8. I think the last time I saw it, he finally got up to like 21. So I was like, well, he made it into the double digits at least. But some of those videos some of those little shorts got some numbers going. So I was joking around because we were trying to figure out like what do you want to see in the shorts, and I joked instant star ratings, and then they did a star rating in the first match, and it made me laugh, and I was like, oh my god, they did the instant star rating.
That's so cute.
So John LaRocca gave his, and then he guessed what Dave's would be in every video. And so if you want to know instant star reactions, go check out the shorts. And then Keela and Scott, bless their hearts, they had to wait a really long time for that show to go over or to end, and because I think the main event was like 35 minutes or something like that. Like, it was really long and slow, and then there was the turn and all that stuff, so which they gave their thoughts on. So definitely go check out the replay of that if you have not seen it yet, because they did a good job. I had it on while we were watching G1, and so it was on my phone, and I can't comment from my phone. So I was like, well, I didn't watch. I'm
gonna be honest, like I'm totally gonna blow up my own spot right here, and so I'm gonna play like when I lost Peacock because they made it unfree. I was like, right, I'm not signing up for this shit. Like, no way. No. And then they made it free for me again because they were like, oh, no, you have the high enough tier. And it wouldn't set up right. And I need to call. And I haven't called. And I should have called before whatever. Right. But I just didn't. It was like pure laziness. But at the end of the day, I was like, I don't even care. It's too much work. I don't care. I'm not feeling it right now. I watched everyone live tweet it. I watched you guys do some of the shorts. But I was like, I'm just glad people were enjoying themselves in Detroit, like having a good time. There's a lot of fun stuff down by Ford Field. Ford Field's a great venue. I've been there for football. Like, there's a lot. Right. There's a lot of Detroit gets a bad rap because it's Detroit, and it's like, which is kind of cool though, because when people like, where are you from? I'm from Detroit, and they're like, oh, they leave you alone. So it's cool. Like, but at the same time, it's like, there's a lot of awesome. And the city is one of the oldest in the nation. Like, it's some of the first places we started building cities. So it's really fun to see. I'm glad it like came off. I'm glad that outside of like the whole thing itself, it looked like the experience was really fun. Who got the monster truck? Do you know? Was there a monster truck? Did the monster truck actually materialize?
I feel like I read something about it, but I don't remember because it's not Miro and the Redeemer monster truck from Righteous Gemstones, so I wasn't.
I heard a rumor that there might be a monster truck, to which I answered, it's Detroit. Of course, there's a monster truck. And then I think we were all prop guessing on, it was one of our groups. We were all prop guessing on who was getting the, who was going to get it, because to me it was like Pyro, Cody, but then like we were throwing everyone, and it's like you could see Cowboy Brock doing it would be hilarious. Oh
yeah, 100%.
So
no stipulations, but he'll come in on a monster truck.
Like,
I don't know if anybody ended up using the monster truck. I saw a reference to it, but maybe that's when it was being maybe that's when it was being considered. I don't know because I never saw pictures of it in my timeline, so maybe it didn't happen. I don't know.
Maybe
And
it didn't
I was
happen.
watching Collision when that was on, and so I
Which
just
that's sad because that is a huge missed opportunity in the goddamn Motor City. I'm just saying.
yeah. Well, no, they had to have. Well, never mind. I won't talk about
I
him.
should watch my mouth. I'm over here like
We're 10 and a half
I'm
minutes.
melon
Not because there's
filtered
going to
right
be
now.
cussing later, probably. So,
Well,
But
yeah.
before, I did also want to tell you because I meant to tell you yesterday and then I forgot and then I remembered this morning. So, you know that lovely candle that I had sent to you for your belated birthday present,
Yeah, I saw some you having what's going on there?
So apparently Coda's Crafts is if you've missed our home and garden candle section that we've had on this show a few times. I have a friend that I met through
Powerbombshells at
Twitter
home.
who creates themed candles inspired by. So there's some wrestling inspired ones, and then there's some like maybe comic book or TV show themed ones I'm not super familiar with. And they said yesterday that AEW DMCA'd them over the Hangman inspired candle. They said it didn't come from Paramount or anything like that. Like they thought that's what would get them the strike. No, AEW came for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cold, Tony.
I was like, what'd you do? See the show and get mad? And like, I'm going after Sam's friend? Just kidding.
Oh my God. What if that's true?
I don't know if it is.
What if that's a warning shot? Did Tony Khan just fire a warning shot across our bow?
Apparently so. And then poor innocent Sid got caught in the crossfire.
That's no good, man.
No, it's not. And on top of that,
now? Why now?
Right. And they waited. That's like a week after their birthday too, because after Hangman's birthday, because they did a sell for Hangman's birthday. They did a 32% off because he turned 32. But they said so. Sid said that's their most popular scent because they have it in candle form and in soap form. And so they're gonna have to regroup and figure out what they're gonna do. Luckily, Alex Shelley is cool and has not come for Sid for the Alex Shelley themed candle. So go get that. Or you can get, which I haven't gotten it yet, but there is the hardcore candle that I want to get that is supposed to smell like blood. So I do want to. So hopefully since it's generic enough that GCW is not going to come for them too. But yeah, it's really interesting that they came for the Hangman candle. So you and I have like
news.
So they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. Apparently it just happened. I saw the tweet yesterday. I don't know if that's when they found out, but yeah. So I'm assuming they had to pull those off. So you and I have like, I guess, collector's items now.
Dang.
So I was like, wow, AEW is just doing a great job this week.
They are not. Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
That's okay. We're going to talk about that. I mean, I guess.
Okay. I don't know how good it looks, so
I guess we can just talk about it now because
I can move it.
Gotta talk about it.
No, don't make. See, I put it together, but I'm like, I'm over here,
No, Mel. We did some last minute things, and so Mel has while I've been chatting.
We'll see how these look. I am questionable on some of the sizes, but hey, this is like we're working on our feet here, people. This is like it's kind of like related to that. So I mean, we're working hard over here.
We are working very hard. Clearly,
lots of stuff going on.
But yeah, so if you're looking for a Hangman inspired candle, can't get one from them anymore. But they do have a lovely Alex Shelley. If you want to go help them out because they're going to lose some income because of that, go to I think they're.
Wait, I got it. Hang on, we got this. I know that we have not taken them off here on purpose because we love plugging our favorite local online and everything vendor. We like people who do their own independent stuff like we do.
Right, exactly. And so again, they just happened to be in North Carolina, which I didn't know at the time when I first followed them. And I was like, sweet, even better.
Makes it even better.
I was like, oh, they're in the same state. So go to their Etsy store, Coda's Magical Crafts. They've got some cool stuff over there. Some, I guess the Hangman stuff is gone, but there's Alex Shelley inspired stuff. There's some some hardcore inspired stuff. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Then there's like some movie themes or like comic book theme stuff that I'm not super familiar with because that's not my jam. But but definitely go support them. They have
I should
candles. They got
definitely go
soaps.
on there
They've
because
got
I'll bet you
they've
that.
got lip glosses. I think is like one of the things or lip
Ooh.
not glosses, lip balms. I believe they've been working.
Oh, because
on
they
doing.
make them from the more. Oh, that's a good call. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure that I'm one of those conspiracy theorists. I should have brought my tinfoil hat for this one. I'm one of those people who thinks that the chapstick industry does something that to the chapstick that makes you keep needing it. So.
Mike Gilbert asked if they have Chris Saban's nips inspired stuff. No, but I'm gonna bring it up now. I'm gonna message Sid as soon as this show's over and be like, "Hey, we have a new idea for you."
Well, I mean, in fairness, like if they're gonna discontinue one, like I don't think that he would be at all insulted, and
yeah,
they should get a big teats inspired one too.
Oh my God, yes. All right, Sid, we're gonna come up. Listen, we're gonna help you come up with some ideas with some people we think are cool and probably would not get you.
Who would not freaking cease and desist on you for randomly for a good. You know what it is. I know what it is.
It's because
I will tell you what it is. It comes down to economics. It comes down to very simple. It's a good idea and a funny name, and they want to use it. So they're telling her to stop it.
No, I was like, just make it like Anxious Millennial. It's because it's an Anxious Millennial Cowboys.
We want to steal your stuff, and you can't. Hey, so I've like done research. This is funny. Here, we'll do a little law corner with. So I've done research on trademarking our stuff. At minimum, like baseline, it's like $350 to file for like a trademark for your thing, and then you have to go through this whole thing, and you have to like, and that's minimum. So it's $350 minimum, and you can go through all this stuff, and it can be more expensive and all these things. And just like our rule here for so we follow government rules here at Powerbombshells. Just like that, they can keep the money until no, they're not. They don't think that it's trademarkable, but they don't think that it's an economic thingy, and that you're making money from it. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So I like our thing better, but now we know that we're following government rules, so we have a right to keep that money if we don't want to read your mean comment. So our $25 minimum would be totally approved by government standards.
Right. I have some information, but I guess I will wait till it was.
Dear God!
Yeah, it was just sent to me.
Never ends.
It was just sent to me, but it's not major. But it goes with the conversation that we're gonna have a bit later in the show. So.
Oh shoot! I was supposed to tag more people in the Discord, and I totally forgot. I'm such a jerk. I'm the
speaking
worst
of, I guess speaking of the Discord, there are, if you want to join the Discord and haven't, and you're considering joining the Patreon, you get an automatic invite to the Discord with your subscription to Patreon, and there have been some changes to the Patreon. And we have some there's a brand new tier as well.
We can get this to show up good, so that there. I think that one's
sorry,
pretty
this
good.
writing may be a little bit small.
Sorry about the squidgy writing, guys. This picture would not have been my complete total choice. What do you think, Sam? Which one was the best?
Just leave it with that one. Yeah, or well, either way, because we'll kind of go over it. Then it is on the Fight Game Media Twitter. I believe we've retweeted it. We'll put it up there again so that
I'm gonna go through our entire slideshow, Codger, just to have fun with it. There we go. That's the one we're going with.
So normally there's just a $5 tier, but I guess if you are a Patreon subscriber already, or you've seen the retweets from us and other people with Fight Game Media, you probably have heard that the free feed has gone away because their former partners at Blue Wire decided they didn't want to be our partner anymore, and they brought in ad revenue.
They had to downsize. It happened all over the place.
I thought maybe because they were talking about on the Boom, I was like, did the timekeepers tank that for them?
Oh my God!
This announcement came like right after the Timekeepers made their debut.
Holy crap.
So I was like, did we do this?
Oh my gosh. We are pummeling people. We are like, holy crap. Us having a I had no idea us having a discourse about women in wrestling was going to create such a domino effect.
Sorry, you guys.
Or you're welcome.
Yeah, whichever. Could
we're
be.
dangerous. That means that we are dangerous. That means people are listening to what we're
women
saying.
who think for themselves are already dangerous, don't you know?
I know. Oh, well, fair point. A to the men, sister.
Anyway, so
say we
the free
all.
feed is going away, and that has shook up some shows. Some shows are leaving. Unfortunately, our friends Mike and JD of the wonderful.
There's nothing more
Mike and
certain.
JD
There's
show.
only one thing certain in the world, folks, and it is change.
Yes, this is true. And so they are going. They're going to somewhere else. They have not announced yet, but wherever they go, they have our support.
They have our full and complete support.
They've been very big supporters of ours, and we truly appreciate them. And we're sad to see them go, but we know they're going to kill it wherever they go. And so, and then I believe also in the clinch, the MMA show with Ryan Fredericks. Is that the one? Is that in the clinch?
Colin Ryan.
Oh yeah, that's the one that is leaving, right?
Is it? No, I believe that it is actually pound for pound with.
Oh,
Robert
I'm sorry.
Silva. That is.
Yes, sorry.
He's got a network of his own. He's like one of Garrett's like bros. I mean, he has done so much for our network. You guys, boxing coverage. So follow him wherever he goes. He's somebody that's I believe that he might even, if he's not in our Discord, he's definitely like a supporter. So
yeah, Daza, their show is
great. It's
a bummer, but we're happy for
really
them.
like boxing and things like that. But also it's like support these people when they go to their other places. It's like you started with them here and then we followed them there. And then we've already got like a tentative invitation potentially to the
first I think before I'm even allowed to be on the show, I have to watch the movie first. Like I don't think I'm even allowed on. Like I think that's that's the rule.
now there's 3 of us. Okay, so
after G1, that's the plan. That's been the plan. Nikki and I've been talking about it, and I was like, after G1. And then so yesterday I was like, I'm not allowed to be.
That'll be good for the fall. That'll be good for like right after the like end of August, post all out, kind of like beginning of the fall. We can get some pumpkin spice and some Can't Buy Me Love and
burn my collector's candle.
I'm gonna go jump on I don't have a driving mower, but maybe in the next door neighbor will let me borrow mine.
I'm officially banned until I watch Can't Buy Me Love. Damn it. All right. And then also he did say,
oh my God, I need to get a straw cowboy hat for that show.
Please do. Mike says Timekeepers, that's an effing shirt.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I want that to happen. We have to. We actually throw
but if we tried to make it, then James would DCMI us and be all over.
James would be like, I gave you that idea.
Hey, you better give me some. Actually, you know what? If that happened, we'd totally get that. We could add it to the potential Fight Game Media store that may come someday.
Yeah. Yes.
One of the great.
So, so yeah, there are
a big old stopwatch on the back. That looks like with all our colors.
It's gonna say 69.
I actually think that we could put. I think we get Kyle to put a stopwatch behind the bombs and make it look fun.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
I might have to bother him a little bit for that.
We should.
Shout out Obey Cube. OneRedT.com, folks.
They created
our people. Yeah. They create also another independent creator and
go
amazing pal of ours.
Yes, and created our amazing logo that we love so much. Our
logo that is the best.
Yes, that's got to go on a shirt too. Yeah. But yes, in the meantime, while we're waiting on merch in a merch store or however that's going to play out, you can go support us on Patreon. And you can, so for the $5 a month, you will get a show every single day of the week. You will also get bonus audio content on the weekends that will include John LaRocca and Gigi's history show, pay-per-view /PLE post-show recaps, and more. You'll also get the Discord. access that I mentioned before. There's like some bonus episodes, ad-free shows, complete post archive, and then we have a new $10 tier that you can sign or that you can sign up for, and you'll receive everything that I just mentioned in the $5 tier. You'll also get full video shows from the Boom and the 5-Star Joshi show, if I can speak this morning. And you'll also get some other bonus content as well. Speaking of Strong Style and our show, obviously we are here on YouTube, but they will be putting up audio versions on the $10 Patreon. So at this point, we will continue to put up our own audio on Podbean as we had been doing, just because we have a subscription for a little bit longer. So that will not go away as of right now. But
for the moment,
for the moment,
look
but
for
it
that
will
to be
likely
ending, and I mean
that will likely be ending in a couple
sooner
of
than
months.
later. We'll be
Yes.
ending that more than likely, because we really want to support this Patreon
Yes,
situation, because
exactly.
we are
We had
like,
because Mel is on it, and we had a year subscription to Podbean.
well,
So,
it's
as
you know
she
what
should
though.
be.
I
So
mean,
we're gonna get our money's worth out of it. and
we'll get our money's worth out of it. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Everything will be. It'll all be worth it.
Yes.
The biggest investment is in this network right here.
Yes,
That's
exactly. There's also going to be a new thing where they're going to do monthly happy hour, where you will receive an invite to join a video call to hang out with some of your favorite podcasters. No, you don't have to be peer pressured to drink. That's just a fun name that they went with, and so you can drink whatever you would like, whether it's water or tequila or whatever it is that you would like to drink. And if you sign up for a full year, they're going to send you a piece of Fight Game merchandise. The storefront's not up yet, but we'll be in touch. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Garrett at gg@fightgamemedia.com. In the meantime, if you have not already, definitely make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, because that helps me and Mel directly, and it helps Speaking of Strong Styles coming back. We're going to be doing a lot more live streaming post big shows, as we mentioned with the tiers. We have some things in the works for All In that we can't announce yet, but we are working out all the details. So on top of all of the giant news that happened this week, Fight Game Media has been very busy this week too, trying to get things together, and we're trying to get it before All In, because All In is just 3 weeks from today, which is crazy, and then All
Stop
Out
saying
is
that.
4 weeks from today. And so, yeah, I was looking at the calendar and I was like, oh my God.
This like cannot be true.
So there's a lot going on. But yes, that definitely is a huge support. And another thing that's easy to support the YouTube shows is super chats. If you're a Patreon subscriber, that does not necessarily apply to you, because you already give us your hard-earned money as a Fight Game Media, as a Patreon subscriber. But if you don't subscribe to that, you would like to help us out, there is a thing called super chat, and you can donate that to us, or I believe they'll be doing that.
It's actually really easy, like right in your thingy. Like I stream our chat here, and right in your thingy there's a little $sign right on the side, and you can give us whatever amount you want. Like,
yeah,
just if you want to flip us $1 because you're cool and we're cool, you like us, and you want to help us do our thing.
Yeah, it helps us. And if you we do still have our policy of, if you pay us $25, we may read your mean comment.
Right. The mean comment rule still applies. Since we are talking about super chats really fast, you have the right to make non-offensive, abusive, insightful, racist, or otherwise hateful or illegal language.
Yeah.
If you want to make a mean comment that is none of those things, you're welcome to. But the minimum buy-in is $25.
Yes.
And we reserve the right to keep the money and not read the comment if we find that it's too mean and too offensive or whatever. And again, the hate content, keep it to yourself.
Right.
We don't need that here anyway.
We have an interesting comment that came up on one of our clipped videos the other day, and I sent it to Mel and sent it to some other people, and they were
I don't know if you saw my new X handle, but you know what, I felt like if we could get super chat money, like if we could get like $5 for every time someone called us virtue signalers,
did see
that
you
we
changed
would
your
actually
name.
be
The
making
X
more than
confused
we
me,
would
and I
be
was like,
making
well,
on here. So we could actually help. We could probably underwrite at this point over the last month. We could start to help underwrite the network
we
a little
could.
bit.
Right.
Because if you count each of us being called individually, being told that we are signaling our virtues.
Yeah.
So
we are. Yeah, the X comment, when you
I
said X, it threw me off. I was like, what is that? Because I refuse it. It's Twitter. I will always call it Twitter. I will call it tweets.
I know.
It
I was making the
confused me.
joke.
I was
It's
like,
gonna be Twitter until I die. I'm gonna be that old lady who in
X, I was
50
like, what is she
years.
talking about? Yeah, exactly. The old lady that doesn't change.
Like my grandma, there's a store in our town, and it went by Coddles back in the day because it was the last name like it was
Right.
back in the day, and it became a like Shop and Save and Hannaford and all other chain you can think of and whatever. But to her, it was always Coddles, no matter what it was.
I
And
understand.
I just like that's gonna be me with Twitter.
Yes, yeah.
It still says freaking tweet right up in the corner.
No,
okay?
they changed my
You're
end.
supposed to
They
be
changed
a genius,
it.
Elon. Okay,
They
it still
changed it on
says
my
tweet.
end. It says post. It says post, and it says repost now.
Wow.
At least on my end, I got it. I was like, I hate this. This is stupid. Dawson said, "Why would I want to make a mean comment? I don't know. I don't think most of our viewers would not make mean comments, but because you're in the Power Bombshell posse. Wait, is that what we decided? Is that what the name that was decided on? I can't remember.
I don't know. Whatever.
But yes, you're in the Power Bombshells posse, and you would not say mean things.
You are.
But some people who are not in the posse.
You are part of our peeps. You are there. So.
Daza said, not kidding. When I saw the X logo on my phone apps, I thought I'd been hacked in a porn app downloaded.
I know.
Did you see there were so many Japanese wrestlers that didn't know that was going to happen, that it was going to change to X, and they thought they didn't know what had happened, and they didn't know what the website was.
Well,
and
that doesn't surprise me because that guy runs a company. But I'm starting to wonder about, like, I went around and kind of started looking at the ages of these people, and they're all right around my age. So which makes sense that they're the people becoming like the CEOs of companies now, because they've done their time, and they've done all their, venture capitalism. And I'm like, whoa, the end of X and the beginning of millennials running things is looking very dodgy right now. We need to get some of the people that we need to end student loans and get those people out working in the real world so that they can actually save us from these wackadoodles who have their student loans completely paid off from birth. It's getting a little crazy.
It is getting a little crazy. Brad says, he said there's still a birdhouse at the top page of the site. No one tell Elmo it's there. He might change it. Well, I don't think he's watching our show, so it's not coming.
I don't know, man. We got poor Coda's Crafts got
I'm so mad about that.
Me too.
I'm very mad about that. Damn it, go support them and buy something else.
Seriously.
And Nikki did say something way up here about the lip balms that we started to talk about. And also there's something from Brad that I was going to put on here too. So oh my god. Nikki said that she really enjoyed Bring Over to Takesha, so bringing it back to way at the beginning of the show.
Awesome. That's okay.
Nikki said that she doesn't doubt that they do that stuff with the chapstick that you were talking about. Brad did say the monthly part got me to move up to the $10 tier. My year had already renewed a few days before, so it was easy to move to that tier. So that's really good. If you are already a $5 subscriber and want to move up to the $10 tier, that is easy to do. I believe all you have to do is
Patreon is really user friendly. I mean,
which is always nice.
Unlike
some other websites.
Unlike some other platforms we were just talking about, Patreon is actually, and I really feel like, I mean, you look how Fightful's done and other places like that, and they've been able to use the platform, and it's not mean. Kyle uses it. We have a Discord too. He has obviously different tiers as well because of the art, and he has a hard. They do a zine where members. I mean,
that's really
really cool. Like members have been published, and when there's a hard zine that we actually get. And if you're at my tier, you get a digital version, but you get a discount. And just like with Fight Game Media, the cool thing is once you've been a member and been standing for a year, you get a membership card for like 20% off everything at the store.
That's really cool.
Which is like, I mean, I'm happy to give them my money, but it's silly. It's like I almost feel like I'm stealing sometimes, but it's great. But my point is that, like, so for us as we grow, it's something that will be, and I'm glad to hear that it's easy.
Yeah.
And that video thing is going to be fun, just because.
Yeah.
I know a lot of you we talk in the Discord. Sometimes it's cool to just have a minute to look someone in the digital eye, and
right.
But it is a lot of fun, and you get to really just have you can chill out. And again, like, so I have a suggestion for if you're looking for something that's non-alcoholic. I took the walk up to my we have a Tim Hortons up the street.
And look at you.
Yeah, right. So they have something called a coconut cream cappuccino frap thing.
Mm-hmm.
I put the thing on it myself at the end because I'm not sure I'm getting that exactly right. Whoa, dude. It's excellent. It's like excellent. And I think next time I would get it with another shot of espresso, but all things being equal. And on a hot day, it is so now I know that the distance from the Tim Hortons to my house is the size of a large coconut cream.
That's a good way to measure time and distance.
So it's perfect.
That is perfect.
And it's perfect on the hot days on the way home, because that's where you got the wind. Like, yeah, it's good. It's good.
There you go. See? Yeah, so you can drink whatever you want. Just don't be weird.
And that's even a suggestion for you. So
yeah,
not that I'm like, I mean, I wasn't paid by them or anything.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so I will just take Mel's word for it.
They have a strawberry, and you can do other.
Ooh, fancy.
They have like a strawberry. They have a whole line of coconut cream drinks like that they're doing, and they've got stuff for people that don't like coffee. They've got like a strawberry and one other one I can't remember, but
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. Oh yeah. That's what I like about the Tim Hortons, is they are very conscious of like non-dairy, like, which that is.
Yeah,
that's
super helpful for people like Nikki and
I'm people who don't like coffee. They're like, they're like, please come in here.
It's really. I know it's rare that it seems like a lot of people like coffee. It's just not my thing. But
no, I totally get it.
But I'm glad that they have options for people who don't.
Oh, they have excellent. They have.
I know they want you to come in their store, but I appreciate that.
Let's capitalize on not coffee drinkers too. Like, they have an excellent selection.
Let's get their money too.
Yeah, no, Tim Hortons is. I mean, listen, I grew up in Dunkin' Donuts country, so I'm probably blaspheming to my. I probably would be disowned by what's left of my family members out there if they heard me say this, but Tim Hortons greater than Dunks. Sorry.
You hear that? You hear
all
the hot takes here on Power.
That's it. I've gone full Midwest somehow, and it's all over.
So if you're still in Detroit from the pay-per-view last night, go hit up Tim Hortons.
Hit up Tim Hortons, man. They're all over. They're downtown too. Yep.
There you go. So
they're in. I think there's one in Ford. There's probably one or two in Ford.
There you go. There probably is. And so that helps us segue right on into this first topic that we're talking about, because again, we have a lot to talk about today. This was the story that I thought was going to be the big news of the week, and then nope. It is still a really.
We may be the only people that talk about this.
It's still, listen, it's an important story. We need to talk about it.
Agree.
So,
and Sam was right. I want to say that before. Sam was right. She said the whole time that there was more to come, and there's always more to come. And
yeah, the story it's never ending. When I wrote this article the other day, I was like, I don't know what made me think of it, but that was like the legal troubles follow Vince McMahon like Pigpen and his stink. Like it just follows him around. It's always with him. I'm glad you found it as funny as I did, because I kept laughing at myself. I was like, this is funny. I might be the only one.
No, you nailed it. Nope, you nailed it. Perfect.
But it's just what I thought of. It's
nope. You're right. That's so good.
Brad said Sam is always right, and Mel too, especially with this story. Thank you, Brad. But yeah, so Vince.
Sometimes it feels like you're the only one that's paying attention to it. Like, and I say that as someone who listens to Observer Radio. Like, they kind of gloss over it. They've been a little caught up in the lady conversation.
Yeah. There's a lot of things dominating headlines this week, but I don't want you to forget, like, there's important stories everywhere. This is one of them. So Vince McMahon, obviously he forced his way back into the company earlier this year. He's probably just going to be there until he ceases to breathe, and then he'll probably come back as a hologram or some shit.
But this consciousness uploaded into like the scariest robot ever.
He's probably
don't sneeze around me. Sorry, that's my best. There you go, folks. That's my best Vince McMahon.
Sounds just like him. I thought he was here. All right. So get this out because this is a serious story.
Let's get it started because it's
all right. So
we're stalling.
Yeah. On Wednesday, WWE had their Q2 financial earnings report. And that's when they decided to reveal that Vince McMahon had been served with a federal grand jury subpoena and a search warrant was executed on July 17th. Does not clarify where the search warrant was executed, whether this was at home or an office or a warehouse or who knows where. It was just that it was executed. No charges have been brought at this time. I have a feeling that they could probably potentially be brought later. The SEC filing also states, as previously disclosed on June 17th, a special committee of the board of directors was formed on June 15th, 2022 to investigate allegations of misconduct by Vince McMahon. As previously disclosed, the special committee investigation was completed during the fourth quarter 2022. However, government-related investigations remain ongoing. So there was probably more where that came from. And Vince released a statement to CNBC. He says, in 2022, WWE formed a special committee to review allegations of misconduct against me. That review was concluded in November 2022 following an extensive investigation. Throughout this experience, I have always denied any intentional wrongdoing. And sorry, I did not mean to laugh, and continue to do so. I am confident that the government's investigation will be resolved without any findings of wrongdoing. I am focused on completing the recovery process for my recent spinal surgery and on closing our transaction with Endeavor, which will create one of the preeminent global sports and entertainment brands. WWE put out a statement, says, we believe this is a continuation of the investigation that commenced last summer. WWE has cooperated throughout and fully understands and respects the government's need for a complete process. So as mentioned in the statement from Vince McMahon, and I had heard about this, but it kind of flew under the radar. Vince McMahon had spinal surgery recently, and TMZ Sports says that the procedure lasted more than 4 hours. It was deemed a success, and he is currently on medical leave. I believe WWE also put out a statement that he is on medical leave as well. Don't know if this is just coincidental timing or not. I'm sure the surgery was planned.
Me, if we were going to have a back surgery, like if we went in to schedule it today, it'd be months before they got us in because we are
probably pre-planned.
But Vince McMahon, you're telling me that, and it was from everything that was in the Observer and was on the Observer Radio. And this was a long surgery. Like I know Nikki's had them, Bob's had them.
Yeah.
The longer it is, like the more complicated that means that there's like, because most of them are, I hate to say it, but they're pretty cookie cutter. Like they are like, we're going in to do a fusion. We were going in to do a clean out of a disc, we're going out to do, but something with it, like what they're talking about. And that guy has, like even Dave was talking about how he was still doing squats like way past when like a normal, it's like, you're not helping yourself anymore. Like really, and I'm not saying that it does seem, is there really such a thing as a coincidence? I'll leave that up to you.
Man's world, I don't know, but yeah. So
especially around this guy.
Yeah, I just
thought it was important a back brace.
Yeah,
instead of the collar.
Yeah, right. So yeah, and another thing. So yeah, they mentioned the thing about obviously Endeavor purchased them. They're gonna combine to be TKO Group Holdings Inc. is what it's been. I guess is what they've. I guess it's they're like in their filings. I guess it's not official yet because the sale is not official, but the sale is expected to be finalized in the second half of this year. But yeah, so that's what's going on with Vince McMahon. I'm sure that will not be the last time we hear about any of this stuff. Wait, let's see if there's some funny comments over here. I was reading. Hang on. Let me. Oh, is this gonna work for me or okay? Brad said there was more about LuFisto's story than the criminal this week. Yep. Because WWE is always going to use the distraction to their advantage. The last time, remember, they fired Mandy Rose like the day after something else came out. Yeah, so they always do.
There's always
it's just like, not that they're behind the LuFisto thing, but they will use it to their advantage and keep quiet.
Oh,
they want you to pay attention to Summer. Look over here. Pay attention to SummerSlam. If you need some controversy, Kid Rock is here too. Talk about that. Don't worry about this.
That is the dumbest, easiest. Like, Kid Rock is like the lowest. He's not even low-hanging fruit. He's literally picking the rotten fruit off the ground.
Yeah. Pretty much, but that doesn't the WWE doesn't care.
I'm just as a local.
Just wanna put this out there in case you missed it. This man who shot at a case of Bud Light still sells Bud Light in his bar.
Dude, he would. You know what? He has to, because all the dumbass rednecks that go to his freaking place won't drink anything else but that piss water. And yes, I said it. Budweiser sucks, and so does Kid Rock.
Yes. Yes, they are. Mel is giving all kinds of hot takes today.
I'm so spicy hot take lady right now. You know what it is? I blame Bob. He's been making me watch that YouTube show, Hot Ones.
Oh, right.
Where they have the celebrities with the hot wings.
Right.
And they're so fascinating because the guy, the interviewer, is really, really good at interviewing. And the people that are on there are actually sometimes people I'm interested in. So
right,
it's total binge worthy.
And you know that's where they
and it makes me have spicier takes. So
that's that's where they found Mercedes to be in
Mandalorian.
Yes. She was on Hot Takes and that.
Oh, okay. Well, we haven't watched that one.
She was on that, and that's where they found her, not in WWE.
Interesting. Hey, fun fact on that show, because people start asking him questions. No girl has ever tapped out on that show.
Good for them.
No girl. Nobody. So
that's fantastic.
That plays into this week too, even.
Brad's well, oh boy. So Brad says Vince McMahon the Gray will haunt us forever. Yes, he will. Daza said this is why the show is awesome. It's funny like Brian and Vinny used to be. Burn.
Oh.
We have some spicy takes in the comments.
Oh, pretty soon we're going to be playable characters on a mobile game or something.
Yeah. I heard about something about that. Oh, man. Nikki says that Vince doesn't get a robot back, and Brad says, no robot back for rapists or people who cover up crimes.
No, definitely for Nikki first. Nikki definitely gets the first robot back that we can afford.
Yes. Dawson says, well, he already used the neck brace for the steroid trial, so he has to go with the back injury.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right.
Don't tell me this man as in a mastermind planning this shit.
Ooh, yay. Sympathy for the devil indeed.
All right. So that's enough Vince talk.
Seriously.
Sure, there will be more. It'll pop up sometime. Maybe next week.
Well, it sucks because he is involved. And the one thing I will say is that I take a little bit of solace in the fact that because he messed with Treasury, because he messed with shareholders and that they don't like that. Those people don't get away with it.
You mess with other people's money as a
you don't mess with other. If you're the only person that's in prison for something is Bernie Madoff, and that's because he messed with rich people's money.
Yeah, and Can't be messing with rich people's money. We don't have
So,
that.
Vince is messing with rich. When you have shareholders on that level and you're making the billions of dollars that they're making, or whatever their like returns are, hundreds of millions, like you can't mess with that money. You're gonna get yours. So, oh my god, I can. I'm like picturing like decrepit old Vince McMahon in a back surgery, like, don't send me to prison.
Why? But yes, probably.
And I love, my favorite thing though was that there's like the conspiracy again. This was the week for the tinfoil hat, I guess. There's the whole conspiracy theory that part of this is related to the Trump Foundation. And,
I heard that there's some maybe.
Oh man,
there could potentially be. We don't know yet, but something. Man. So
we had a Carney president, you guys.
Y'all gotta stop falling for these
Carnies.
The
world is crazy right now. If somebody else gets a cease and desist or gets dropped off of their contract after today, we know.
We're gonna wear Mel's gonna wear a tinfoil hat next week.
I will craft it.
That will be her hat of the week permanently.
It's been coming. I should keep it around for times like these.
Just have it sitting on your desk in case you got to pop it on.
I just don't want to debut it on a like random show.
I feel you. Can you imagine all the stuff that will come out when he leaves this more recoil?
No.
I just hope any and everything. I hope people are freed of their NDAs. I hope people who've been afraid to come forward can just.
I hope Chris Shelton writes it, because he's not afraid to drop an 800-page book on you about wrestling. That bro is like, I'm going to write an 800-page book, 900-page book on the Tokyo Dome's history. Enjoy.
Yes.
And the parts I've gotten through like 600 pages, it's really good.
That's awesome.
I love that dude. Book.
Brett says, I'm going to lose it if Trump is the reason that Vince has to be removed from WWE. Wouldn't that be the funniest thing? That would pretty much be the funniest outcome.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's bad
at this point. I feel like we're living in pro wrestling.
It should be all of the other terrible, awful reasons that he should not be in WWE. But if it ends up being this, man, we'll have a good time on this show. I'll tell you that. We're gonna go live. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Sunday. We're gonna go live at 10 a.m. on a Thursday.
We're gonna do the point and laugh edition.
Listen, Sam, I am not a morning person, but if this news breaks at 7 a.m., we will be on air about 7:45.
We're getting Sam a breakfast stout or something, and
get it delivered from. Well, we don't have a Tim Hortons, but we're in Krispy Kreme country here. I mean, we do have Dunkin' Donuts, but this is Krispy Kreme country, so. There's Bojangles. We're also Bojangles country. There's Bojangles right down the street. I will go get a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit and come talk to you guys about that.
Hilarious. That will be worthwhile. That right there is worth $10.
Yeah. Come pay $10 and watch
that. We might have to. We do something like that. We might have to get the whole network together and put that behind the paywall.
Could you imagine?
Only $10 subscriber.
Yeah, you get it first, and then we'll put it out.
You guys.
We'll put it on the free. We'll put it on the free feed later.
Like, a lot of times what Kyle will do is like he'll put this stuff out in his premium content, and then he'll release it in like 2 months to other people, and not all of it, but some of it, and things like that. So I mean, that's ways to. I mean, you can do all kinds of funny, weird stuff with Patreon. So yeah, it's like, yeah, but listen. We've been here the whole time, so we've Sunday at 1 has been. Like, I was actually saying this to Bob, we've got to be getting close to a year, because I was like, let's get in before football season starts so people are used to us already.
Yeah.
And there was a Thursday night football game on this week.
Yeah, I saw something about it. I was like, what do you mean? I'm
like,
Thursday
night football. Are you people out of your mind? It's like preseason already?
Yeah, I'm like, if I'm not watching wrestling, well, even when I am watching wrestling, I'm still in baseball mode. Like, my team's doing very well.
Until G1 is over,
I don't care about anything else.
Until
baseball.
G1's over, it's G1 season. I don't care.
Yeah, it's still G1 season for me, and then I'm watching baseball and
Right, you have
like
you have baseball.
So I will, but yeah, I'm firmly because my team is really good this year, so I'm very into that.
That's
But
awesome.
yes,
But
so
anyway.
with the good wrestling, AEW they celebrated 200 episodes of Dynamite this week. Like that's insane. I have, and I think you have as well, and probably people in the replies and who are watching this have probably all watched all 200 episodes
Pretty sure I have.
of AEW, and then there's it's just insane because then I was like, then everything that's come after that, I was like, I have watched, I think probably I think I watched nearly every episode of Dark. I know I watched everything of Elevation. I've watched every Rampage. Even if I haven't watched it live, I've DVR'd it and gone back to it. Collision, we're only like 6 weeks in, so I've watched all that. I've watched all 22 episodes of ROH.
I think I've missed 2 episodes of Rampage total. We were watching Rampage this morning. Even though we watched Collision live last night.
The parking lot fight was...
This week's was awesome.
Yeah,
I saw a bunch of spoilers and was like, oh, we definitely got to check this one out.
Yeah,
and then Jim Valley said yesterday on his show, you have to check out Rampage. And it was like,
if you haven't watched Rampage yet, go watch it because
that's awesome. I'm so glad that's so nice to hear after all these many weeks of.
Sometimes Rampage really has some good stuff. Sometimes it's just hidden gems, and sometimes it's the whole thing is good. And sometimes I've seen the question of maybe they should just have 3 matches instead of 4 because one is always inevitably a squash, which is true. So I wouldn't be mad at them
on this one.
But yeah, go check out this week. But yeah, so there's been a ton of AEW. 200 episodes. That's a big deal for a wrestling company, and they're on a major network, which is awesome. And even for all of their faults and other things that have been going on, like I'm happy for them. I'm really glad that they got to 200 episodes. I thought it was a really good show. We got to see some cool stuff. We got to see the women main event, which was really cool to see. They got good time. I think that they got, I believe it was 13 minutes and 17 seconds, I believe is what the time was on that. Then they got their full entrances. It was really great. We did get the Sheeta. We got Holy Sheeta
I love that. Yeah.
She got her win. She's a 2-time champion. She gets to wrestle in front of fans this time. She said, I think like pretty close soon after she won, she tweeted that, she heard us. She heard the crowd getting to be happy for her. And obviously she was just overcome with emotion when she won. She was in tears, and it was Toni Storm I love her. I think she's great. I think this was the right call. It felt like a reset in a lot of ways, not just for the women's division. And I'm still, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I've watched this company long enough when it comes to women's wrestling. I do see some positive things, and I'm hoping that it's a foundation for things to come. And so I'm really happy for Sheeta. Like that was probably my moment of the night, even though I was really excited to see RVD. He got to come out to walk, even though Nikki and I for a second thought it might be SGC. I guess that's their music, and maybe, as much as I love RVD, I maybe would rather see SGC because I love those guys. But that was really cool, and aside, he got a nice pop, which was cool to see. And then so what did you think about episode 200?
I actually really enjoyed it. I was just like, I think that you just nailed all the things that are about, like when the RVD thing happened, I had heard potential that there was potential for that. And so I was like, oh, they really did it. Wow. I can't believe it. Like,
because I heard that I wasn't sure if he would come out at Dynamite because
I wasn't expecting to see him this soon.
Because the rumor that was going around was that he was going to face Jack Perry at either All In or All Out.
Right.
And then, so I wasn't sure that he would be there, that they would do it this soon.
I like it better here. I like it. I like this better.
And he got the pop he deserves, I think. And then, like Brad said, the first time Pantera got paid to have walk-use, I'm guessing Tony paid them a case of Jaeger. At least. At least. So that's what they were saying, that
why
they
not?
have been planning
That
RVD
probably would have worked.
They probably have been planning RVD for a while because to get that song cleared. So they've
They would
clearly been
have
talking
to.
about
I
it. But
mean,
yeah, so it's
that's cool. I mean, no, it was really great to have some like highlights of those things. I like that they showed. I liked the video packages of the 200 episodes. I liked that
that was
they,
cool.
because it was really, I was like, okay, it's show 200. You guys really need to make sure that you bring up people like Mr. Brody Lee and stuff like these.
Well, that's why I went with the Brody Lee shirt today, because I was like, you can't talk about AEW's 200 episodes without him, even though
Exactly. I was like, I love that they had the
small
tribute
period of
pieces in
time.
there.
He was such a big part of AEW in that little bit of time, and even afterwards, with obviously the things we've seen with Dark Order. Obviously, -1 has continued to be a part of AEW. Amanda Huber works for them, and so they've continued to be involved. And so yeah, it was. And I really like some of the old stuff that they showed, and I'm glad that they showed Cody. Like, Cody was a huge part of AEW, and I'm glad. And of course, I mean, because they are pretty open about things that happen, and they don't act like other companies don't exist and things like that. So I expected them to show Cody, but it was still nice to see him, on there, because he was such a huge part. And one of my favorite AEW matches ever is Cody versus Dusty 1. Like, I loved.
Oh, that was such a good match. That was just a good match. It's just a good match. It doesn't matter.
I love it so much. And so, I mean, the
good.
second one was good, but that's one of my favorite AEW matches ever. And so I always will bring that one up. And I love, like, the dog collar match. And then I like that. Some people made the comment that the last couple of episodes have felt like original Dynamite, like the violence and the aggression and just the hard hitting, and they're not afraid to do stuff. They're not doing the like TV formula stuff. Like, and I do kind of agree that it has kind of felt like that the last couple weeks.
I like the transition away from JAS. I'm enjoying that story.
Yeah.
They've actually turned that into an interesting, where they're like, and even that was like my big detractor from this Rampage was, I just felt like the broadcast team was like not clicking very well, and Chris Jericho was having one of those days where he was being a little too annoying, and it just felt like, but I knew where they were going, but for some reason it was bugging me. It's probably because Kevin Kelly all by himself wouldn't have done some of that, like, and he's been doing just amazing jobs. Big giant total sidetrack. Big shout out to Kevin Kelly.
Props to that guy always.
Bless him. He's doing it by himself, and he is making these matches ridiculously interesting.
Yeah,
and
he's doing
compelling.
a fantastic job. And Nikki and I even were talking about,
wow. And he gave a shout out to AEW's 200th episode on the show that I was just watching. So I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. We can all coexist.
We can have
maybe not the locker room,
great big world, a globe of like wrestlingness, of wonder.
Awesome. And I was telling Nikki, like, we were talking about it, I was like, what are they gonna do with Collision? Because Ian he's gotten him, people love him. Like, obviously you and I have been big Ian cheerleaders from the beginning because we've watched ROH, but now he's getting exposed to a whole new fan base who only watch AEW and are not familiar with ROH, and they're getting to see what he does, and him and Nigel are finally clicking, and Nigel's kind of not doing the WWE stuff that he was doing before, and they work so well as a team. And I was like, Kevin Kelly's coming back in like 3 weeks. Like, what are they going to do? I was like, are they doing a 3-man booth? Is Ian going to go back to ROH only? Because I know he signed the bigger deal, but he was saying that it still leaves time for, his family and to do all that stuff. He just got, he tweeted earlier this week, he joined a school board in his hometown, in the town that he lives in. So now he has those duties too. So I was like, what are they going to do? But Ian has definitely made a spot for himself, which is incredible. And so I was like, did they go back to a 3-man booth? And then Jim Ross returned on Collision last night, and Jim Ross called the the title match, which he did early in Collision on the first, I believe it was the first 2 episodes of Collision, he called the main event. So like, how are they going to make this work? Like it's a good problem to have, but
Yes.
it'll be an interesting. And then like, what do they do with Wembley? Like, does Ian get to go to Wembley? Are they gonna like, how are they gonna do this?
Gosh, I have no idea who's gonna call that show.
Yeah, I mean, I assume like you're gonna have. I mean, you can't have an AEW show without Tony Schiavone and Excalibur. But I
Yeah.
assume, hopefully, JR is healthy enough to travel. But he's probably can't call.
I don't know
entire
though,
show.
because a lot of what I'm like seeing about his situation is like this, like what happened when he fell was that his like they believe that he like because of his Bell's palsy and stuff is that he tripped over his CPAP machine and
yeah, I saw that he tripped over it and didn't realize he hit his. I mean, he hit his face, but didn't realize he was bleeding until
how
the next
bad
morning.
it was, and then there was all this stuff, and Doc had to like send him home, and they're doing, and I guess like, and also the skin cancer treatments are really painful, and
yeah.
I know just from our experiences that like when you do radioactive therapy, you can't be around people for periods of time.
Which is why I think he's done with those treatments, correct?
Yes.
So yeah,
I think it's a lot of it is that they keep it in check with chemo, but
right. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be healthy enough to travel. I mean, I assume that if he is,
he'll want to, but
yeah, and I was like,
should he is the
if,
question.
if he does come to Wembley, I would assume he calls the main event. At least if
Well,
he,
they're
I mean,
gonna like drag him across the ocean on an airplane. It's not. I don't care where you sit. It's not comfortable for the.
Yeah.
It's a long freaking.
It is.
Trip.
Yeah, that's a lot. Brad said, I don't want JR calling wrestling in 2023, but I'm glad he's good enough to be there last night. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, pretty much
Fair.
my feelings on it as well. Yeah, I would say.
Agree.
But so now we have like, because so I will bring this up if go back over here to the our Rampage comment. Is poor Sue got her minivan destroyed. James V. McDaniels is going to be so heartbroken. What I loved about that is that even though BCC was in the midst of just beating apart her son, they were like, you don't need to see this. You don't need to see what we're about to do to your car either. Here, they open the door and they're like, go, don't watch what we're about to do. please don't watch this. Which I thought was great. But I really love the first parking lot fight is probably top 5 AEW match for me. And so I was excited that they were doing it a second time. They did it in Daly's place where the first one happened. It was cool seeing it with Blackpool. I was hoping that since there's been some rumors about Proud and Powerful maybe being a tag team again, I was hoping they would pop up and come help or be involved somehow. I'd hoped that they had been part of the episode 200 or something like that. But it sounds like they might be on the way back. I don't know that there were rumors that they weren't getting along anymore and that they had a falling out, but then they're listed on AEW's roster website as members of Proud and Powerful. So I guess anything could happen. So that we could be on the lookout for them coming back. And Young Bucks have re-entered the tag team division. They're wrestling the Hardys on Wednesday, which I'm super excited about. And so I can't wait for that match. That is, I know why it's not a Wembley match. I get it, but to me, that is a Wembley level match. For me, it is. But I know why they're not doing that. And then of course it's because we did get some confirmation of a few matches last night, and there are still some rumors. And I've got so what we have confirmed, which was a big part of, before we confirm these or go to this part, one thing that I really liked on Dynamite was the stuff with Swerve, AR Fox, and Nick Wayne. I thought that was incredibly well done. Like I was already invested, but now even more invested in it. Somebody asked me why they wondered why Keith Lee is not involved with Swerve anymore. And I'm wondering now if maybe Keith Lee is going to help out Nick Wayne against him, or maybe he just gives him maybe he mentors him on some stuff or something like that. But I'm really invested. Then on Rampage, you have AR Fox come out and he's in the bloody tank top that he wore. Like, that's crazy. But like, I think that story is really well done and it's really compelling stuff. And I'm excited to see. I assume that this match I'm assuming something is going to play out all out with Nick Wayne and in Swerve here. Whether it's like I guess they're already did they already announce a tag match with
I
Nick?
can't
Or
remember.
I can't remember either. So many things have
I'm
been
terrible
announced
right now on the.
because I can't. Yeah, so yeah, but I feel like that's going to lead to something at All Out because poor All Out's going to need everything that it can get. Because it sounds like they are not going to do a discounted package like had been the rumor. We already know that they're promoting All In on Bleacher Report, so yay.
It is going to be on cable and satellite too. So
yes, Nikki said he had Luke Harper inspo. He sure did. I will not. I will say this, and you can do whatever you want with the information. Fight Plus is available in Canada and other countries, and All In will be available for $15.99. There are things called VPNs, and you can put can put two and two together. I will just say that. And Brad is also saying the same thing.
Yeah.
That
exactly right.
Yeah. So just a little tip for you guys. I know that that's a lot of money to drop in 8 days.
Well, yeah, I think it's a big ask.
It's
$120 in 2 weeks, basically.
Yeah, that's
now in this economy.
Yeah, in this economy.
Thanks.
Yeah,
dude,
and
I
if
went
you're
to
gonna,
the store
and
the
if
other
people
day
are
to
gonna
buy
have
some
to
green
pick,
beans, I was like, "What's happening?"
If people are gonna have to pick between two shows, which one do you think they're gonna pick?
I'm picking All In.
Yeah, I mean, I would too.
The first time.
Yeah, exactly, and it's gonna be a huge show.
And I know
It's
more about what they're
deal.
doing with it than I know about All Out.
Yeah, so now that we know about the only thing we know about All Out so far is Darby challenged Luchasaurus, which was really challenging Christian. Let's be honest.
Well, he made that clear, didn't he? When he said, "I'll have this belt forever." He was.
Yeah, and like, last night he turned on his own daughter. That part.
And he like cut a promo saying that he had the belt, and it's like
he did. Luchasaurus is just standing there.
Luchasaurus's belt, though, isn't it?
It is, but Luchasaurus is.
He's like, "I'll have this belt forever." I'm like, "You don't have that belt. The dinosaur guy behind you has the belt."
He's like, "No, I don't." But so if you
are you a dinosaur guy? You don't look like a dinosaur guy. Dinosaurs don't wear turtlenecks. They might. I mean, they might.
Well, it would fit for like a T-Rex because they can have the heel turtleneck and have so the little tiny arms can go through the
can you imagine a turtleneck for like a brachiosaurus or something like that? That's a long turtleneck.
It is a long turtleneck. Need a lot of fabric for that.
Neck. Sorry, I can't help
myself. You guys get some really good content.
Sometimes I see
this is some $10. This is some $10 content that you're getting.
This is why you want to hang out with us during the happy hour.
You can super chat us $10 get our for audio. More dinosaur takes.
That's right. Spicy dinosaurs.
So we know for sure that the confirmed matches are Adam Cole versus MJF in the main event,
right?
Which apparently moved. I saw WrestleTix came up in my timeline, and that match alone moved 431 tickets in 2 days. So they are very, very close to selling out. I'm sure once the card comes together some more, it will. I expect it to get to 80,000. Like they're so close. If they announce Elton John is performing for Sam,
everybody wants it so bad. I'm like, I know.
I hope Paul
for all my wrestling people who want this that it happens for them.
I want it to happen for
me.
Can't
be cheap to get Sir Elton John out there on there for.
Listen, but this is your big Wembley debut. You better.
I'm not disagreeing with you. You got to pull out all this stuff.
You got to fork over. I don't care if you get a David Bowie hologram.
I mean, you don't have Cody Rhodes anymore, so you don't have the pyro budget that you used.
This is true. Except for they gave Ricky Starks the pyro 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Collision. He got all of Cody's leftover pyro budget since they're friends.
They must have a bunch like in backstock or something.
Yeah,
they need to use up at Daly's. There was a bunch in backstock at Daly's place. They need to use up.
Yes. So we have Cole versus MJF in the main event. I think it's a solid main event. I still don't know. It seemed like we were getting MJF versus CM Punk at All Out in Chicago. But now it seems like maybe, I mean, not that they can't wrestle two giant matches 8 days apart. with a giant travel day in the middle of and traveling in the middle of it. But now see it. They haven't. It's not official, but last night Samoa Joe threw out the challenge to CM Punk to have the match in Wembley because Samoa Joe says that even though CM Punk beat him clean, he has never been better than him a day in his life, and he wants to prove it in the biggest stage in the world. And that was actually, and if you watched a couple weeks ago when we talked about this match, when I went back and watched the first, when I watched their trilogy from ROH, their very last match until a few weeks ago happened in England, and Samoa Joe beat him. That was the last time that they faced each other until then. And so it's not as he wanted CM Punk to respond. Clearly, CM Punk was a little busy with some other stuff last night. And so I assume we'll get probably a video that, because they like to make matches via Twitter videos, and so that's probably where CM Punk will accept that challenge. So that appears to be happening at All In. And then obviously last night we also got the Young Bucks versus FTR was confirmed last night, which had been a rumor for a few days, officially confirmed last night. Just days after the Young Bucks just happened to re-enter the tag team picture.
I think that's gonna be a good match. So that's a solid match.
Imagine that.
I mean, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and
you think
that it'll be fun.
Adam
It'll be
Cole
there.
Wins, and then like MJF challenges him to the rematch the following week, or
possibly?
do you think that MJF retains the belt and CM Punk challenges him to defend it
to challenge him in Chicago? I mean, All Out makes, not even just because it's in Chicago, but because it's All Out where all of this stuff started last year. Like, it feels like this is the perfect place to have this happen. And that will sell pay-per-views. If you're worried about not being able to sell all out pay buys, then that's probably a way to do it. Is to have
have him main event it. I mean,
yeah.
Or at least be a feature on it big time.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
it's his hometown. It's like I didn't even think about the bigger picture of like that's where everything freaking started.
Yeah, that's why I've been saying the whole time this is where
the muffin heard around the world.
Yeah, and so it was funny. As CM Punk put in his Insta story the other day, he was at Mindy's. He landed on Sunday, and he went and picked up, I don't remember what it wasn't muffins. He went and picked something else up from her, and so clearly they're fine. She's not, I guess, mad at him for all of that. So I guess like what they say is not all PR is good PR. So he's like, they're cool. Brad said, I need a spot in Cole/MJF where the ref is down and they both go to cheat at the exact same time on each other. They can have MJF not do it since he's a face, but Cole goes through to win and turn heel. Yeah, I've seen some people saying they don't want a heel turn here, but they're definitely teasing it, because obviously there's the spot that they keep talking about is when they hugged on Wednesday. You could see Cole turn his hand into a fist and look like he was stabbing MJF in the back. He did the same thing to Roddy when he turned on him in NXT. We go to the back and there's a very irate Roddy, and I was like, maybe he got triggered by that because he saw it. And Nikki was like, should he be happy that he's turning on MJF? And then we see the Kingdom's been lurking around a little bit. Adam Cole used to be part of the Kingdom, kind of teasing that. I don't know anything about Kyle O'Reilly's injury update. I did see a video of him working out the other day. Don't know I have not heard how close he is or isn't to returning. Wembley would be a great place.
That would be good.
Or All Out would be a great place.
Or one of those two places. I mean,
it would
obviously
be a great place for Kyle to come back if he's cleared and ready to go.
If he's ready to go, yeah. I think you save him until then. Probably.
I make this comment all the time, but Adam Cole has lots of boyfriends. Somebody is always fighting for him.
Yep.
Now the Adam Cole and a pole match that I suggested way back, now there's more participants.
Oh yeah, you actually could. Wow, you've upped the ante.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that could participate in this
fighting to be his BFF.
Match. Yeah, he has. Yes, so. Mm-hmm. And Brad said that he wants to give Christian the Breakthrough Wrestler Award for this new gimmick of his. I love this. I'm enjoying.
It's actually the best thing he's done, probably, like for me in a while.
That segment with his daughter last night was so funny, where he was like, where she wanted to hold the belt, and he's like, "Did you win this?" Then he had tried to have security kick her out,
I know.
and so I didn't realize somebody posted pictures of it. So on Wednesday night, Jack Perry went. Some people said the camera cut, but some people saw it. Jack Perry went and hid behind a little girl. Turns out that's Christian's daughter. It's the same girl. They showed the picture. So either Jack is still messing with Christian, or the two of them are still working together, and they're gonna do something to Luchasaurus.
Oh dear.
So it's kind of because I saw both theories. I think Josiah was the one who said he thinks that Christian and Jack Perry are still in cahoots, still working together, gonna turn on Luchasaurus at some point to get Jack that title. Or maybe Christian's just
maybe he's gonna screw everyone.
Yeah, it could be. It could be that.
I mean, it is Christian.
It is. Daza said, aside from from Tuesday in Texas back in '90, has the promotion ever done 2 pay-per-views in such a short time? Not that I can recall.
I am the wrong person to ask.
Yeah, that is not a. Yeah, Chris Charlton probably knows. He knows everything. Daza said, I demand his daughter to be on TV every week. Yes, I really.
She's adorable, and she was funny.
Yeah, that was really good.
They could make that work.
Yeah,
they're letting -1 around. I mean,
yeah, of course. Daza said, Luchasaurus teams with Christian's daughter because kids love dinosaurs. This is true. They do. This is look at all these free ideas we give out all the time. So we'll go back to a couple of these rumored matches. So Ospreay and Jericho has obviously been rumored for the last couple weeks. Seems pretty likely that's going to happen, especially because Wednesday is the JAS meeting or whatever they're going to do. Probably going to turn on him. They're all going to finally disband. Some of them might come with him. I don't know if any of them will come to the Don Callis family with him, or if he just starts rebuilding on his own. I just want them to implode. Oh, and speaking of JAS, I want to say they did a promo with Anna Jay that was pre-taped, and it was very good for her. She was not yelling, she wasn't screaming, she wasn't overacting. It was a very good promo, and I was like, "See, this is what we've been talking about."
I think she's been doing great. Like the stuff from yesterday was good. Or from Friday was.
She feels like, so keep giving her opportunities. Keep putting her in the ring. Keep giving her mic time. Eventually, she's going to have to go back in the ring and start cutting live promos again. But in the meantime, these taped promos are fine. You've just got to work with her and give her opportunity, because that's the only way that they're going to get better. Is like you said last week, we've seen Jack Perry figuring out his character for 4 months on TV, and he gets all kinds of TV time to figure it out. So let her do it too. Let Marina get some. Who is, like you said, who is Sky Blue? Let's get some stuff on her. And it seems like Collision's been, the last couple weeks, they've been building some stuff between Chris Statlander and Mercedes and Diamante and Willow, and it looks like in the next week we're getting a tag match between the 4 of them. So, and Anna Jay is getting a shot at Sheeta's title next week. So Nikki, when she won, Nikki was like, "So when did she wrestle Nyla Rose?" And I was like, "Wait, she wrestled Nyla Rose on the Rampage before to get this spot." So I guess Nyla Rose usually has her spot of getting to wrestle the new champion like the very first match they get. So this week they're changing it up and giving us Anna Jay. So maybe they're building some stuff, I'm hoping.
Well, that could be a good. I mean, for Anna, that's a really good match for Anna Jay to like go get it. Mm-hmm. Like, let's go.
Put her in that spot, because you never know what you're going to get until you let her have it.
I mean, I hope that she does well. I'm rooting for her because I hope that there's something there.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. It would be. So other rumored matches are Kenny Omega versus Takeshita. I could see that happening just because of their history. They wrestled in DDT Pro together. You're definitely going to get. It definitely seems like this All Out card is, for, like we talked about last week, is to cater to the UK fans who have not got a chance to see AEW live. So they're going to be putting people like Chris Jericho on the card. They're going to, you're getting Young Bucks and FTR. You're going to get CM Punk and Samoa Joe, most likely. You're getting, Adam Cole and MJF. So that is a more obviously current storyline, but it seems like they're kind of gonna, like you said last week for Forbidden Door, where they're not necessarily storyline matches or anything to move stories forward. They're kind of dream matches. They're giving these people the AEW experience that they've yet to receive.
I think that's how they have to run the show. I think it has to be more like Forbidden Door than regular, because the real pay-per-view is the next week,
right? And so that actually goes
not
back
the
to
real pay-per-view, but the in storyline AEW on the AEW ground North America continuation stuff takes place the next week.
Yeah, and so Brad had this idea that maybe because Blackpool Combat Club won on Friday, they get to wrestle the Lucha Bros. Also, side note, they also announced that Pac has injured once again. We don't know what the injury is. We don't know how severe it is. We don't know if this means he's not going to be wrestling in Wembley, which would suck so much for him.
Seriously, I'm hearing it's not good too.
Yeah, so they're just the worst possible timing. So I hate that for
bad.
them. So Lucha Bros versus BCC is happening on Wednesday, and so Brad's wondering if maybe they get a title shot at All Out against the winner of FTR and the Bucks. That's a way to sell.
Oh, that's decent. I mean, that would definitely help. That would help sweeten the deal, as it were.
And then we've got, and then he said Darby and Nick Wayne versus Swerve and Fox at All In would be great. Yeah, that was the match that I had suggested when I was booking with Nick the other day. I was like, oh, I think this might be where this is going. But one of the most interesting rumors that at first I was like, why? But the more I think about it, I kind of hope it happens. So there's been a rumored match of Jeff Jarrett versus Grado. And at first I was like, why? Because Grado's not had anything to do with AEW. He has not wrestled in America in a very long time, as far as because he was in Impact. And from what I've gathered, they were not in TNA at the same time. Jeff Jarrett had already gone when Grado came in. But Grado was a big part of Impact. He's very over. He's huge. Obviously, I believe he's from Scotland. And so he's very big in the UK. Apparently he's still very over there. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, if they do, so his indie theme was Living on a Prayer by Madonna. And it's which it's so Living on a Prayer. So I was like, Tony has, if he's bringing in Grado, he has got to pay the money to get that theme, because that crowd will lose its mind. Because there is a clip that I've seen before. He wrestled Drew McIntyre. Well, I think he was Drew Galloway at the time, in a promotion in the UK for the title. And it was Grado's biggest match. And that music, there were 4,000 people in the crowd, and that music hit, and the place lost it. And then they were singing it at the top of their lungs, the entire song, all the way through. Like, just this really cool moment. I actually tweeted the video the other day because it was something I had remembered seeing after I had talked to my friend about it. And so for the UK fans, it makes a ton of sense to have Grado on this card. Even if it's on 0 Hour, it would be a huge thing for them. And Jeff Jarrett is somebody who, I mean, I'm not surprised. For some people, he is, a lot of people love him. And a lot of people haven't seen him in a really long time. So I think, if you're giving the UK fans what they want, giving them the experience of singing at a wrestling show, then this is a match where you can do that. And it's not going to, I don't think it would take anything away from anybody or the card. And so Brad said, the good thing is, I believe Madonna's Like a Prayer is owned by Warner, so getting it for Grado's theme shouldn't be too hard.
You said Living on a Prayer. I'm like, that's Bon Jovi. Wait.
No, Like a Prayer by Madonna.
Okay, I was like, you said Living on a Prayer. I'm like,
no, did I? I meant Like a Prayer.
I was so confused. I was
I'm sorry. I thought I said Like a Prayer.
Or maybe that's just what I heard because I'm a Bon Jovi fan.
Yes, but Like a Prayer is
got it.
I didn't think about that, Brad, but that's an excellent point. So if that match happens, at first I was like, this is why would they do this? But the more I think about it, then there's a clip of Jeff Jarrett talking to Grado where they're in a studio. I guess they were recording a podcast, and Jeff Jarrett hits him in the head with a guitar.
Huh?
Jeff Jarrett has been over in England kind of doing some promo stuff. So I could see maybe they're going to that's how they'll bring, because I was like, how do you bring this to like how do you get to the point of having a match with Grado, somebody who's never been in AEW before? And so I think maybe that's how they do it, something with the podcast, something with, or Jeff Jarrett going to promote AEW and Grado taking offense to it or something like that, and they build a little tiny story from that, and they got 3 weeks to make it happen. So I think that could be how that comes about. I'm not really sure. And of course, this is still a rumored match, so for all we know, this match won't take place. But that's the rumor that I've seen several times this week. Brad says, I just hope Tony finds a spot for everyone who has been there since day one on the card, even if it's a multi-person tag or a big battle royal. We'll see. And that's why I thought Proud and Powerful was coming back. I thought they were coming back and they still could. They've got 3 weeks.
Battle Royale
they've got 3 weeks. They can make it happen. Lord, and you can't have AEW without a battle royal, because
you kind of have to. I think they probably will
do them all the time.
I mean,
if they're gonna put any, like, somebody I would love to see there, and maybe it is just in the battle royal, I would love Dalton Castle to go to Wembley.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Like, I think that would be amazing. And I do one thing I do hope happens, because last week we were talking about banging the drum for Emmy. With Shida winning, I want Emmy versus Shida to happen at Wembley. That is you can do student versus teacher 2. Emmy, if you're not familiar, trained Shida. Emmy even tweeted about it. I think I've got the screenshot, and I didn't know. So somebody was like, "Oh no, that's a stupid idea. It has to be somebody bigger. It's got to be somebody like Mercedes," which he can mind. He's entitled to his own opinion. But I didn't realize how many people also want that match besides me. So I saw quite a few people talking about it. So
I bet you Jeff Hawkins will be down for that match.
Jeff Hawkins is on board. Jude Kilgore, I saw a tweet about it.
That sounds like straight up Jeff Hawkins.
Yes. So Shida tweeted after she won, I did it. You all did it. We did it together because I couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much. I heard you this time. Emmy quote tweeted it and said, with Wembley in sight, you got your ticket to be with the legends of the past as a champion while I sat and watched you do it. All I can do now is drag you down screaming and scratching, make you feel like you used to when Shida was a cute little trainee of mine. You remember, don't you? So they are planting the seeds. Well, Emmy is, at least. I don't know if AEW is planting the seeds. Emmy is doing it for them. I want this match so bad. And then I saw Emmy tweet that, and I want this match to happen. I know you could bring in Mercedes Moné. You could bring in Jordan Grace. You could do all of these things. There's so many things they could do. But I really, really just want Emmy Sakura to get her Wembley moment, and now I want it with her against her student. I think
there'd be more value in bringing Mercedes into Chicago than there would in Wembley at this point. And I think that this match would get over better in Wembley than
I think if they're going to do
from outside right now.
Yes, I would agree with that. And then somebody was saying that they should do the whole thing, let her come out, and have her bring Best Bros with her, which is May and why did I just forget his name? Bailey and Aki. Those are two of her students. They're big in Chaco Pro. I've seen them. I saw them in DPW as a tag team. They're so much fun. I would love to see them be out there with her. When Queen of Dark was on Dark, she would have them out there with her sometimes. Daza said, if Hayter can travel, I hope she gets to come out either in Britt's corner or to chase off some heels. That would be interesting, but I think that might give people some false hope.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like she's far, far away from returning. But that would be a cool moment. One of Wembley's biggest moments was Queen at Live Aid. Yes, that is why. And that's why she wears the... Emmy used to wear the yellow jacket and used to wear the white shirt and white pants, because I believe that was from that performance. And I want her to have that moment. I want her to come out in Wembley. And I said it before, even if it's on 0 Hour, but now that it's out in the universe and she's put it out in the universe,
it might be a good match.
I really, really want Shida versus Emmy Sakura to happen. And then I guess, I don't know if this is technically a rumored match. It's just, there was Britt versus Saraya Britt had said on a podcast I mentioned it a couple weeks ago that she mentioned on Mandrews' podcast that she wanted to beat Saraya in her home country in front of her mother. And so that could be a possibility. But we have, let me go over here into our slides because we have a quote from Saraya when she was asked about.
Did I get the?
I don't know. It's not. Why is this not?
Is that the right one?
It's not coming up for me. It's not letting me do anything.
Oops.
For some reason.
Add.
There's a tweet. Not that one.
Hang on.
Not that one either. Which we'll get. We'll get to that because that will pass. Not that one either.
Nope.
There should be one from Saraya in there.
Is it that one?
Nope, that's the Brit thing.
Okay, so I don't know if I have a Saraya.
Okay, one. I sent it to you, but we may have not gotten it updated, which is perfectly fine. I have the tweet here. If I can find it, let's see. There's this Emi Sakura tweet. Okay, so Saraya was asked what she wanted to do on the show if it was up to her, and she said, "Well, it's a big show, gonna be a longer one too. Putting my opinion about me to the side and thinking about the division as a whole." I think the women deserve an opportunity, and with ample time, we could have multiple matches and really utilize the weeks between now and till then to start telling a couple different stories leading up to what's going to be the biggest wrestling event in history, which I thought was a really interesting comment. This was before all the other stuff we'll get to, but I thought that was a really interesting comment for Saraya, and it kind of reminded me when Saraya first came, like she kept saying like she wanted to elevate the division. She wanted more women on TV. She wanted longer TV. She wanted all the things that we want, storylines, characters, all that. Saraya was very open about, she talked about that a lot. And then, so I thought that was really interesting for her to say that. So who knows, maybe they do the Brit match. Maybe Saraya doesn't wrestle at all. Daza said if Saraya wrestles Brit at Wembley, the home crowd would probably make her the face. 100%. Which these comments that Brit made in the TV Guide interview may make her a heel anyway, because we do have this comment. So the same day, I believe the same day that Saraya's tweet came out, Britt Baker's interview with TV Guide came out. She said lots of things.
I will add that.
She gave some Tony Khan-esque answers about blood and guts.
This one was a tough one to fit in the.
That's okay. She was like, she gives the canned answer of, the women's division is beat up. We can't do the women's blood and guts this year, and just she basically gave the corporate answer. And then she said she hopes the blood and gut match happens within the next 5 years. Man, that match better happen next year.
Within the next 5 years.
Yeah. Don't give Tony that leeway. What are you talking about? Yeah, that match better happen next year. What are you talking about, ma'am? But then she was asked, apparently I cut off the question, but she was asked about there was the sign last week about booking the women's division better, and people on Twitter being vocal about wanting the women to have more and things like that. So this is Britt Baker's response. It's on the screen as you can see it. It is a little hard to read, and then for you people who are listening to the audio version, I will read you this comment. It is long, so bear with me,
guys.
So Britt says, I see both sides to that because I can completely agree. The absolute best matches that come out of professional wrestling come out of storylines you're invested in. There are weeks and months that tell this beautiful story. It's something we haven't been able to invest as much time in the women's division lately. Again, there are many factors, injuries, this and that. I definitely want to get to the point where we can get some solid storytelling for the women. In the same breath, she says, at the same time, the fans who hold signs that say to book the women's division better, that's great. Then I get on Twitter and it doesn't echo that. I don't see the same support. I hate these two wrestlers. This match was too long. This match was too short. If all you see about women's wrestling is negative online.
Uh-oh.
End quote. Whew. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of things I could say on top of what else came out this week.
Which we're going to guess.
If you look at the entire picture of this, Britt is saying she sees the negative, but then she turns around and constantly perpetuates negative. She is the pot calling the kettle black. And I'm not saying she can't defend herself. That's not what I'm saying here. But she responds. So before this stuff, she was responding to troll accounts last week. Like last week, she quote tweeted a troll account called Vince McMahon's Thoughts. First of all, if you have to pretend you are a millionaire rapist online, you got some problems. Maybe you should ignore that account, but not Britt Baker. She quote tweeted it and she put out the full quote and just fed into it. So she feeds into the negativity, which it's her page. She can do whatever she wants. But to say that she doesn't see people online supporting them when that's not the case is, I'm trying to think of the word I want to use here.
Disingenuous?
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, that would be the correct word. And I'm not saying, and I can only imagine the negativity she sees because we only see a small fraction of it. I can only imagine what is directed towards her, and I'm not trying to discredit
I
any
hear
of.
exactly. What
I'm
you're
trying not, and I'm not trying to discredit that because I can only imagine the things that she sees and hears, especially in Saraya and other.
Given just the reaction that we get.
Yeah.
Once, I mean,
right.
More than anyone, but like, I mean,
right.
it's just where it's like, okay, whatever. But
yeah, so I mean,
can only imagine where
it is disingenuous to say that there are not people on Twitter because it's not just me and you and people, but there are lots of women who support women's wrestling. There's actually a movement going on Twitter that I have seen recently called WWE, but not for Worldwide Wrestling Entertainment, but it stands for just forgot it was stands for We Want Equality, and they want equality in the women's wrestling. And that's what they're using. They're using hashtag of We Want Equality, and there's got little graphics, and so it spells out WWE, but it says that. So I think, and that's the two biggest promotions in the US, and you have fans in both companies begging for you to book their women's division better in 2023. That is not something you can ignore. I mean, I know it's easy to ignore because especially if your boss is telling you that you're the lowest, probably based on ratings, still not a good comment to have from your boss, allegedly. But it's just, then you have SummerSlam that happened this weekend. There could have, from what fans were saying, again, I don't watch WWE. I'm only seeing, some stuff on Twitter. I've had some people who watch tell me there were 4 different women's stories that they could have told on SummerSlam. They got cut for time because WWE has a news partnership with Slim Jim.
They had an advertisement match that they needed to work into the
Slim Jim Battle Royal thing that LA Knight won. They also had a Logan Paul match, had him open the show. They also, I believe there was something about Bianca's entrance where she had like promotion within her entrance, which somebody was wondering if that was going to happen. I guess they kind of do that with UFC, and now that kind of seems to be an Endeavor thing, and we'll probably be seeing more of it, which is kind of gross. But so Becky and Trish have been telling the story since WrestleMania, and they found out this week that their match got cut from SummerSlam, and it's going to be on Raw in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And that I did know. I did hear that kind of at the last minute that they were like, okay, well, we're leaving these guys off. I was like, oh,
yep. And then Rhea did not.
They were building that right up to almost.
Yeah,
weren't they building that through Go Home Week?
That's from what I understand. They built it up through Monday, and then found out that they were
and then all of a sudden it was like, no, just kidding.
And Becky Lynch posted photos. She was like, "This is for the SummerSlam photo shoot that I did." Rhea Ripley tweeted pictures of her, and she was like, this is because she was gonna be, I think it was in style, and it was go behind the scenes of her SummerSlam look, and she quote tweeted it and said SummerSlam media look and put a little asterisk because she was doing media to promote SummerSlam, but she was not given a match on SummerSlam. She did not defend her title. So the 2 women's matches they did was Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler in an MMA style fight, which I heard got really bad. A lot of people did not like it. Some of it may just because they didn't understand the rules exactly. Ronda Rousey is not somebody who is a fan favorite from a lot of people that I mean, she has fans, I'm not saying that, but she's definitely not as hot as she was when they brought her into the company a few years ago. This is supposedly, I believe that was Ronda's final match in WWE. She's done. Shayna got the win. The match wasn't very long. I heard nothing positive about it really, at least just from my timeline. And then they got the 3-way last night, which was Bianca versus Charlotte versus Asuka. Asuka was the champion here. Bianca won the title, held the title for about 30 seconds. Io Sky cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase, and she is now the champion. Which I hate that Bianca was only a 30-second champion. But then Io, I know that's huge for her. She is the first Stardom wrestler I believe she's the first Stardom champion to ever, or I don't know if it's a champion or first Stardom wrestler ever to win a WWE championship. So that's really big. I guess somebody pointed out to me that Bianca does get the title. She's in the history book as a 2-time champion. Even she's probably in the history book as shortest women's champion ever. Then they kind of have some other stories going there. Protect Charlotte, Asuka. They won clean, and Bianca was injured in the match, and she sold it. So she doesn't look too weak because she lost. She was injured and then lost. So there could be some stuff brewing with that if they follow it up, and that's the whole key, because you can do those storylines, but you have to follow through on them. Right. And so there's a lot of unhappy wrestling fans, and not just in AEW and not just in WWE. And so this is a huge problem, and you can't ignore it. And then you have all this other stuff that happened this week. And I guess before we get into that, I will come back over here. Daza says, well, maybe wrestlers should respond to positive fans as opposed to trolls, which I understand wanting to clap back. It's easier to clap back at people and instead of promoting the positivity. So, and I get it. And if you're having a bad day or you're frustrated, but I agree. They do respond to troll accounts a lot. Daza said, I've supported women's wrestling since the days of, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Gaia and the start of Shimmer. We are out here. Yes, we are. We're here every week, and we want them to succeed. I don't watch WWE, but I want them to have a successful women's division. I want women's wrestling to succeed everywhere. I want them to get equity. I want them to get all the things that we talked about last week. And a lot of that comes down to booking and to creative. However, there are some extenuating factors that can play a role, because most of us who watch wrestling, we're not idiots. We know that wrestling is a very cutthroat business. It has been since the day wrestling existed. People will fight for spots. They will stab you in the back. They will politic their way. They will politic for their friends. That's just
pro sports and theater are predisposed to backbiting and drama and the whole thing because there's a lot of money flying around.
Yep.
You are playing on the same team, but you're competing with each other. In the case of something like a team sport, for example, a competitive team sport, it's like you are on the same team, but you're also competing for spots all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's true in theater. It's, I want your part and you want the better part. And so, I mean, in those two situations, you've already got like heightened, you took two places that politics and backbiting and the whole thing is, they're baked right into the kind of thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, like, you have to know, and in the case of something like WWE, I mean, we know where the boss stands there. He's like, I mean, he's the ultimate antagonist when it comes to that. I mean, like, for years, I mean, every book you've ever read where they mention the guy is like, he respects you being a backbiting asshole more than not being a backbiting.
Sure.
For him, that's a value. It's part of your,
it means you want it. It means that you want, it means you want it more than the other person,
right?
And things like that. So that is a mentality.
Like being trashy and doing shitty things in his book is like, good job. Like you probably get a raise.
Exactly. So as we mentioned on the show last week, LuFisto had tweeted out about her experience.
Are we starting with LuFisto's tweets?
No, not yet. Just hold on 1 second. Well, so just to give some of the backstory in case you're not familiar or you didn't see the last week's show. So we talked about it. We wanted to validate LuFisto's experience, but also we were trying not to spread gossip at the same time. It's how we're going to try to handle this as well. This is
because
a lot
we're
of
not
she
in the
said.
locker room.
There
And we
is a
have
lot
no
of she
idea.
said, she said here. We're just gonna give our view of it. So here we go. So LuFisto did an interview with Fightful earlier this week, and she discussed her experience that she had. Some people were not happy because she waited so long to tell it. They were like, well, why didn't you say anything then? But seems to be a lot of thing that they like to do a lot. That was a common thing in speaking out was, why did you wait? Well, based on
But
the
that's
reaction,
always with women when it comes to
yeah,
women. And I mean, when it comes to women and accusations of sexual abuse and assault, like
right,
everyone always says, "Why did you wait until
right.
now?" It's
And of course,
well,
what we
look
are
how
saying,
you because you all react so wonderful.
right, and we're of course are not comparing what LuFisto is saying to
No,
that.
no,
We're
no,
just
no, no,
talking
no,
about the
no, 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 no,
systemic
no.
way that women are treated when they come forward about anything in a negative light. And so, based on her reaction, no wonder she waited because of what happened this week. So LuFisto gave her experience. There was some stuff in there about Dustin Rhodes. At the beginning, he was very kind to her. She went to her car to get her jacket because they told her she was going to do her full entrance. She came back in, walked in on what appeared to be Ruby and Dustin Rhodes talking about her. And then from that moment, she feels Dustin was rude to her. I did have a little bit of context that may help a little bit. Someone explained to me who is Canadian that French Canadians are very
Assholes.
protective people because they are discriminated against a lot among other Canadians, and so you kind of build this if people you don't know, there's a lot of maybe some distrust there. And so it could have been that Dustin Rhodes was joking with her. And because of her experience with the world, she took it the wrong way. Maybe he was being an asshole.
Maybe.
Could have been, but there is a little context that it may be a cultural thing. And Josiah explained it to me a whole lot better than I'm doing now, and I probably should have saved what he said, but he basically said there could be some cultural differences there, because where they are in Canada, they only want you to speak French. They don't want you there. No other languages are allowed to be spoken in this area. So there was a lot of discriminatory behavior and treatment from other people. And so when you have that experience and then take it out into other areas of the world, may make you more defensive about some other things. So again, I'm not speaking for her, but just wanted to add that little bit of context. And again, Josiah explained it much better than I did. So there is that. Then she apparently had some issues with Ruby, which not everybody's going to like everybody. That's that's just how the world works. And people can have really great experiences with somebody and then somebody else can have a terrible experience with them, and that's just how they perceive. I mean, that doesn't negate all the good things that people have done with that person, but it doesn't mean that their negative experience did not happen. And
Right.
so I think and so so she had a lot of things to say. She explained what happened with her match and how she was told to do certain things and did not do certain things. And then there was a lot of lack of communication, it sounds like, which is not surprising. We've heard these stories from AEW before with talent who are no longer there, like Marco Stunt, Joey Janela, even contracts were coming due and nobody reached out to the talent, and the contracts were just over. There was nobody re-signing because there was a lack of communication. There are multiple wrestlers who have said that. So apparently in this situation, from LuFisto's point of view, she was told that they were interested in her as a coach. LuFisto was a 26-year veteran. She is an indie legend, especially in Canada. She's in the Indie Hall of Fame. So she sounds like somebody who would have a ton of experience to bring in. And so QT told her that, Tony wanted to meet with her. Well, Tony was busy and all night long. So she never even got to meet with Tony. So that added to her frustration. And so instead of understanding her experience and things like that, it turned into that didn't happen, or your negative experience doesn't matter because we have never had that type of experience here. And then it turned into, from my point of view, it turned into a coordinated PR campaign to discredit someone because they had a negative experience and because they don't like one of your wrestlers. And so instead of being like, hey, we're sorry if you feel that way, sorry that happened to you, it turned into Ruby is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, here, happened. What we'll do is we'll toss up a couple of these.
So Sheeta did not.
This was actually kind of funny.
So these coordinated tweets were coming out, and you can't tell me they weren't coordinated because they all came out within minutes.
I will tell you what I think is that from somebody I trust, I guess. Mm-hmm. I would say it was certainly encouraged, and I would say it was let's say it was encouraged from a high-ranking female member of Tony's inner circle.
And I have two guesses who that will be, but I'm not gonna
have said, hey, you might want to give this a whirl. And I don't necessarily think he or she thought that they would all go out running out at this, like when what I picture like that email going out to people and then potentially that, and again, I cannot 100% confirm or deny all of, but this is something that I heard from someone I trust and who has been very accurate in their reporting of things, is that there was encouragement from within, and I don't know if they necessarily were like, all go do it at the same time.
It sure seems like it.
Well, but here's my thing is, and the only reason I would argue that is that, and this is the only reason, is that the way that wrestlers are and the way that wrestlers talk, like telephone, telegram, telewrestler, is not a joke. Like, and so to me, I feel as though I picture like that email going out like, hey, as the weekend goes on, and literally all of them sort of running to the internet within a span of like 10 minutes. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter.
It came out to me. It looks like it was a coordinated attack.
It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they were doing it like within and over the course of like 2 hours and it was just, and I don't necessarily think that it was like, go do this. And they thought they would all go do it at the same time, but it doesn't matter because the fact that it was probably potentially encouraged from within.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the reason it was encouraged within is because Tony has to, in this situation, has to be careful because of what he did with Big Swole.
Well,
that is absolutely why this
totally
happened.
Effed up the way he handled the Swole situation.
Right. And so he was probably, whether he decided himself or was advised from somebody else not to tweet anything because of what happened with Big Swole.
And these just aren't working for me.
And I just want to remind you that Big Swole and her child received death threats when this happened.
Right. Yeah, that's,
and I want that cool. needs to not be forgotten. Whether you agree with what Swole didn't say anything wrong. All she said was that she had a few negative comments. I listened to the interview that she did. What was represented by a very large media source was blown out of proportion. I don't believe that Tony even read that. I think he read the headline and tweeted based off of the headline. And then he said some terrible things. It blew up. There were wrestlers. His favorites were supporting him, just like his favorites came out this weekend and did the same thing. And they...
I mean, I'm trying to find, I wanted to show some of the ones that did come out when they came, because it was
that
like...
we'll go back to, because this LuFisto thread is important. But there's some other things that came out. So during this tweet storm...
Well, this was funny because of what it was, so you read that and I'll see if I can
tweet storm, Sheeta is like... just over here living her best champion life. She's like, I am just going to talk about this. And so she says, hang on, where is
there? Try and read that, people.
So Sheeta says that she says, trust myself, never use others as excuse. I'm only to improve myself. This is my motto until from now. Being the champion is not a being the champion is not a goal. And she said that she's talking about how she's going back to the gym, and then somebody tweeted her and said that they heard she needed back surgery from carrying the division since 2019. She responds, "I can carry that more than 100 years, doctor said." Which I thought was fantastic. She just like, y'all aren't dragging me into this. And so Sheeta's been just living her best championship life. Yesterday, she was tweeting asking where Benedict Cumberbatch would be when they were in London. So she clearly has her priorities in order. It is interesting to me. I don't know if this was on purpose or not. No current women's champion said anything. There was nothing from Athena. Chris Statlander didn't say anything. She did like some of the tweets from like MJF and a couple of the other women. She did not put out a tweet herself. Sheeta clearly was tweeting about other things.
Well, and then MJF put out his...
the women champions did not tweet this at all. It was, and I'm not saying that they don't have a right to defend themselves or to defend Ruby, and I'm sure Ruby is a great person, but that doesn't mean that people don't have bad experiences with her. I had a boss who was great to me, but was terrible to my friends. Both things can be true. They did the same thing to Swole. Swole said as a Black woman, she had these issues. They had Powerhouse Hobb comes out and basically like, that's not my experience. Great. I am glad that Powerhouse Hobbs did not have the same experience. That does not mean that Big Swole's experience did not happen the way that she feels that did. Like, you can't negate somebody else's personal feelings because it makes somebody look bad. Like, right. That's not how this works. That's not how the world works at all. And to have it felt like, first of all, when I saw it, I just got this nasty feeling in my gut. I was like, it felt like they were discrediting her, which in a time where you have dealt with speaking out for the last few years, you going online and having your wrestlers attack another woman does not sit right with me. None of this sits right with me. It was very uncomfortable. And I have heard some things that, maybe LuFisto is not the nicest person. Maybe she's been stiff in the ring. Maybe she's done this or that. This is not on her character. This is her experience. And you are invalidating that because A, it's not your experience, and B, it's a negative experience. And I'm sure, and I don't doubt that some of these women have very genuine friendships and things like that. I'm not saying that at all. But you have Britt Baker constantly, every chance she gets, undermining Thunder Rosa's injury. And she seems to believe that it doesn't seem to be from a character point of view. It seems to be
allow that sort of thing to go on. It's like, first of all, you had a whole show, whether they want to admit All Access happened or not. You had a whole show in which there was clearly whether it was whatever the level of issues were, where the women's division was coming off as catty, and they were definitely like, everybody hates Thunder Rosa. Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, or at least for I may be being a little hyperbolic, but only a little in my opinion, because I feel as though, and this is still my opinion, is that they set up this sort of thing. They allowed that to be out there. Now, I can't speak to one woman or one person's experience with AEW at the time and all of those other things. I don't think invalidating a person's experience is anytime. It doesn't do you any good. And I don't.
It makes you look like you're unempathetic.
And Garrett and I talked about this a little bit, because it's like, why didn't they just, if there's nothing wrong, why not just ignore it? And Garrett said straight out, he was like, because he knows how to work the algorithm, and that is to the degree that this is a business. And they were very much about, it was like, sweet, everyone's talking about it, no such thing as bad PR, whatever. If you think that's true or not, fine. Let's ride the algorithm. It's Friday. We're putting this all out.
We have a live show in a few
Rampage hours. Rampage is on. Collision is on. We've got stuff coming up.
I want to point this out.
But then in the middle you're using a situation that's kind of questionable to. But I mean, that's capitalism, so it's hard for me to. I'm not Tony's not doing anything that any other capitalist wouldn't do in his position.
If WWE wrestlers were doing the
they'd
same
be on blast
thing,
so hard.
yeah, they would have been blasted for it, rightfully so.
Yeah.
AEW
That's definitely
they
true.
should be blasted for this. It comes off as, listen, we know All Access is, Mel and I have talked about this many times about how they did the reality tropes with these women. They found issues and played it up for the camera. It just so happens that Ruby on camera came off as the Ruby that LuFisto described. I'm not saying that's how she is. I assume that was played up for TV. But she also, in that same interview, said when she went to the locker room, Thunder Rosa was sitting by herself. It sounds like the issues between certain women and Thunder Rosa are real, and that's why she was sitting by herself, is because it comes off as a very mean girl situation. Again, we're not in the locker room. We don't see these things. We don't know these things, but a lot of people's work lives,
they have a great locker room and everybody loves each other and everyone supports each other and they're all kick-ass and that's wonderful. Except, why did you feel compelled to have basically you like had a Twitter or a social media sort of like counter assault against? It was like, well, she was, I know, and Mike said this, she was there one day. And it's like, okay, that's fair. She was there one day. This was her experience. She was there one day.
And that doesn't
totally
mean that
fine.
But it doesn't.
He wasn't dismissing it. He was just
I'm just saying, which I get that, because that's
just a fact. And that's fine.
And that's been a lot of people's argument. She was there for one day. She didn't see the locker room, multiple times. Fair.
Well, then they should have just let it. They should have just let it kind of go then.
Yeah.
They should have said, I'm really sorry that you had a bad experience on that one day you were there, and then just kind of let it go. But instead of doing that, they turned it into a big issue.
They did. And they forgot. And so people were like, with all this drama, you shouldn't forget that Shida won the title. Well, that's not our fault.
Well, you guys decided saying you decided to take the social. Saying you have black friends.
Yeah. Right.
I'm sorry. That's what you're telling me in that case.
You went to social media and decided to discredit somebody's experience because it makes you look bad. And I'm glad that, on the one hand, sure, I'm glad that Ruby has friends who will stand up for her, but you don't get to discredit somebody's experience because it's not yours and because it's negative and it makes you look bad. And her experience did happen one day, and it was like a year and a half ago or whatever the time frame was, and maybe they have changed since then, and I would hope so. But if these actions are, some of the stuff is true, if you do have a certain wrestler in somebody's ear and they're being Kevin Nash and getting all their friends, Kevin Nash when he was a booker in WCW, and you're getting all your friends booked and it's hurting and it's a detriment to the women's division, then that's a problem. And if you can come together like this to defend yourselves, can you come together to talk to your boss and figure out how to improve your women's division? I know and an editor pointed out to me, it's easier to go up against one person than it is to a person in power, which is fair. But if you can come together like this to defend Ruby Soho, and I'm not saying she doesn't deserve to be defended, and I'm sure she is a lovely person, and she just, for whatever reason, her and LuFisto have their problems, which it is what it is. And maybe it's one-sided. Maybe only LuFisto feels that way, and maybe Ruby doesn't feel that way about their relationship. You don't get to tell someone how they feel. But if you can come together that quickly, then you can come together and be like, hey, we need more TV time. We need to fix this division. We need to have character development for everybody. We need to have various women on TV. Let's go see what Abaddon is doing. Let's get her on TV. Or them on TV. Let's get Sunny Kiss hasn't been on TV in 2 years. Let's get Sunny Kiss away from the Trustbusters for a minute and do this. Like, let's have Anna Jay and Marina let's work with them to get them better on the microphone. Let's give them opportunities. Let's find a way to make this work for everybody. And I know it's not as simple as going in there and demanding, unless you leave it. There's other ways to do that, because we saw what happened with Mercedes and Trinity. But if you can come together for this, can you come together to help your women's division that is clearly struggling? Like, put your energy into something that matters and not fighting because it came off as outsiders are not welcome here. And if I am Mercedes Moné, Jordan Grace, or any other name, and I see this,
Mercedes Moné right now,
I would definitely have a lot of second thoughts about coming into this locker room. Not just because, I mean, sure, they all defended her, which is great. But then you're detracting. So if Mercedes has a negative experience and tells you it's negative, are you going to deny that she had that experience? Or are you going to, or are you only going to listen to her because she's a big name? Like, just, I don't know. I just feel very, and then so LuFisto did tweet that like it sounded like she was struggling a little bit mentally with this because she said she felt like she was getting attacked by multiple people at one time, telling her experience didn't matter and that she doesn't matter. And that is a problem when you do something like this and you're affecting somebody else's mental health. I know that's probably not what the intention of this was, but I can imagine how multiple women in a company, or not just women, multiple people coming together against you, and how that might mentally affect somebody, whether you have great mental health or not. That's not a great feeling. Then you have MJF weighing in and saying that you weren't signed because you're not good enough.
I didn't like his.
You came from the Indies, my guy. How are you? So you're going to tell people like, so then you're telling people like Effie and Joey Janela and Matt Cardona and all these people who make a really successful living from the Indies that they're not good enough because they don't have a TV contract?
I mean, there's a lot of luck to getting into, and there's a lot of like, you have to be good too, but there's a lot of like, you have to have the talent, you have to have the skills, and you have to have all these things, and then there's luck too, and the right connections and all of these things. So I mean, I didn't feel like he needed to weigh in at all, honestly.
No, I didn't feel like it either. I mean, I guess he was trying to defend
like
his coworkers,
a little too.
Yeah, it just, because of the way it came off, it didn't, and he clearly doesn't. I mean, he doesn't care how he comes off.
I mean, he doesn't.
Gonna say what he's gonna say.
He doesn't give a crap how he comes
and he
off,
shouldn't. And I'm not saying that he should, but in this situation,
I just don't think.
I don't think I don't think that it helped in the way that they. I mean, for some people it did. Some people thought that this was the right way to handle it, and that LuFisto is terrible, and she's trying to create drama because she didn't get a job there, and that she should be handled this way. But there was no fucking empathy for her. They came off as very unempathetic. They came off as mean girls. This also came off as outsiders are not welcome here. And then you do, and yes, and I will say, I did see some indie wrestlers talk about how they had wonderful experiences there. And I have people I know who work for AEW and work in AEW and have had great experience. And I'm very happy for them. And I want people to have good experiences there. So, and I believe these women when they say they have good experiences, but I also believe LuFisto and Big Swole when they say that they had negative experiences there. I have talked to some.
Seems to be always, and I tweeted this, and I'm going to say it again and again and again because it comes back to Tony Khan every time.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan is a wrestling boss, but he's a wrestling fan, and he tries to be friend boss a lot, and he has a really big, like, every time controversy pops up, everything from Punk to this, the way he handles it just seems bad and wrong, and like he can't switch into boss mode. He can't switch into management. Leader needs to. When these things are happening, the answer isn't to like, hey, can you get the girls to, you know what I mean? Because when I talk,
can you go discredit this person
get mad at me, like
bad?
Instead of doing that, like, either like, why don't you set an example and say, I'm really sorry that someone had a bad example, like a bad experience here, and I hope that we'll talk to everybody and fix that, and that can be the end of it,
right? Or even say, I'm sorry you had a negative experience. Overall, we seem to have a really good locker room. The women seem to like each other.
But don't when you have go to like this. It's like it basically plays into the stereotype, like it is high school. You did because you all went on there and subtweeted her.
Let me see if
at the same time.
Yes, I hope that I think I screenshot this tweet. And I hope that I still have the comment. I hope I didn't delete it because I meant to send this in, and it it goes to that comment. Oh, please tell me I still have it and I didn't delete it.
I don't know. It just came off. It was like you almost sort of are proving the point when you could have just very simply been like, I'm the CEO of this company, or I'm the general manager of this company. I'm really sorry that someone had this experience, and I'm gonna talk to everybody involved, and I feel like we have a great women's division, but I don't want these experiences happening, and that's it.
Yeah.
Make a professional, put out a press release, put out a professional statement saying we are taking this under advisement and we are concerned about this, and we don't want anybody in our locker room, men or women or otherwise, feeling like they're in an unsafe work environment. And then
Right.
like you could have been done with it, but then instead
Yeah.
of doing that, it was like, to the social medias, like
Right.
which
I
is
know that's how a
exactly
lot
what a
of us
bunch of
handle
like
things.
sorority girls would have done. Or
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
it was like the world's biggest subtweet is what it felt
It
like.
was.
It was
And
like
gosh,
our public stance is subtweet the crap out of this person.
yeah.
It's just like,
That's professional.
okay, that's fine. That can be your stance, I guess. That's a
Okay,
choice.
maybe did I not screenshot this because it was the perfect comment, and I want the full comment, and I don't wanna misquote this person. However, there is a quote that got brought back up from Jon Moxley, where he said that he's been in a lot of locker rooms, WWE, years of the indies, and the AEW was the one locker room that was the most like high school.
High school bullshit. He talked
Yep.
about it before.
Yes, he has talked about it before.
He has mentioned it on more than one occasion.
Yep.
And
It's
this guy
out
is
there
not
that
someone
this
that like
locker
tweets a
room.
lot, and he doesn't get involved, and he's like the as far from drama person. I mean, even when you listen to like Kevin Kelly talk about him in interviews when he was with the G1, is that he was like sitting alone in the corner on purpose guy.
Yeah.
Like he was, I'm in my own zen like space guy, not like
right. And I'm not trying to use Jon Moxley's words against him or anything like to prove a point or anything like that. I'm just trying to put out.
But he has
these
brought it up
comments about the
before.
locker room have been out there before. And it's not saying that the women
the
don't.
brawl
Some of
out
the women,
and the whole situation around it.
yes.
Nobody. I mean, Punk got punished. They got pulled off TV. He got like, but
it's not just Punk and
there
all that
was
stuff.
never like
Andrade punched his coworker in an effort to get
and
fired.
There's no
Eddie Kingston hit Sammy and got suspended. So it's not like these are not isolated incidents. And I'm not saying this is a locker room that's like in disarray and this happens, that there's constant. I'm not saying that
from
either.
that. It just seems like the same issue. It comes down to leadership at the end of the day. And when Tony can switch off, I want to be your friend, and has to switch on, I'm your boss and you can't act like a teenager.
Right. Yeah.
And certainly not encouraging, hopefully, people to put out teenage behaviors.
Right. And I do like, this is the thing, like I hope that locker room gets along well. I hope that they are supportive of each other. And I don't
want it to be the way it was before, because I've read those books and it's terrible.
I don't want these things. And I do. And again, they have the right to defend themselves, but they don't have the right to tell somebody that their experience either didn't happen, it doesn't matter, and that because it makes them look bad. Like that's the problem. That's my biggest issue with this, is they are not being empathetic. They're showing no empathy whatsoever, but they want us to have empathy for them. They want us to have empathy for Ruby because she's a great person, and they want us to have empathy for all of these women, but not have empathy for LuFisto's situation because it makes them look bad. And that's the biggest issue here, is it just came across as you had a negative experience, therefore you're wrong. That's not how this works. And so LuFisto did send out a tweet that I assume happened. I don't know that I don't think, some people of course say that she made it up. But supposedly the day after her interview came out, or no, the day her interview came out, an AEW talent contacted her and talked to her for an hour and told them about their experience. She did say a talent, so it's unclear if this is a woman
Right?
or
Oh,
if this was a man
what?
or
Yeah.
somebody who's
Oh, here it is. Wait.
non-binary. Doesn't she's not they don't she doesn't specify. She did say she talked to them for an hour. Um, the woman who actually addressed the problems I did today were the ones sent home by Tony Khan. There was a meeting to shoot on Thunder Rosa that Khan attended. Before leaving, he reminded them that their segments were the lowest. When some girls arranged a meeting to talk about Baker's crew, one of them ran to
Sorry.
Britt to let her know. The girls that wanted to address the problem were the ones who got punished. Things didn't get better, they got worse. The legitimate wrestlers believe Tony doesn't give a damn about the women's wrestling and feel like they're going back to the Divas era. And so she's addressing a lot of the issues that are brought up, that there are some fan, I did see some fan ask Britt whether that really happened. Britt of course says no. I don't necessarily know that she would be like, yeah, they were going to talk about me and somebody turned into Hulk Hogan and went and ratted us out. So the meeting didn't happen. And then I mean, so what's she gonna say? I mean, maybe they did. Maybe it never did happen. Maybe that person has incorrect information. I don't think LuFisto is lying about the call, but I mean, I don't know her. I can't say whether this happened, but assuming this call did happen, then that shows you the type of problems that are happening in this locker room, which bleeds over into TV. Because if somebody like a Britt Baker and her crew are in your ear telling you, don't put her on TV, put this person on TV, then you're hurting your roster if those things are true. And so that is why we are discussing it. We're not discussing this to spread gossip or anything. We're looking at the big picture of how this could potentially be affecting what we're seeing on TV, and that is a problem if these things turn out to be true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I can't really say much more because the idea here is like we don't know for real, but these things keep coming up, and they, like you just
Usually
said,
where there's smoke, there's fire.
If it's, Tony needs to be the boss. Tony needs to be, and he needs to be a responsible boss, and he needs to be an empathetic boss, and he needs to be someone that, like, I mean,
he needs to take his blinders off. It's not while it may be an overall very positive
I really
locker room,
hope that this is just like some sort of like enigma of someone's, but like just whatever, like not what everybody experiences, because I really would like for them to continue. Like, if they're going to be catty, and then they aren't going to get the time that they need. They are going to be constantly getting.
And I think another thing to point out is,
I mean,
this is not
so hard when you don't know.
Right. And this isn't exclusive to AEW's locker room. Like, don't think that this isn't happening in WWE just because you don't hear about it.
Oh, it definitely it's happening. Look at who their boss is.
Somebody made the point to I had actually kind of forgot about it, was about a year ago when Charlotte and Becky had that very real confrontation promo where they both got really unprofessional and said some things. So there's clearly some issues that are happening in other locker rooms. And again, they may not be to that level and things like that, but if it is to the point where it is hurting how the women are booked on TV and who is getting TV time and who is not, and who is getting, or getting people, were giving them the time of day where they're getting, things that I don't want to keep going back to Britt because I'm not trying to blame everything. I'm not trying to blame things on Britt, but like we saw where Britt was injured, they kept her on, when she broke her nose, they kept her on TV for weeks at a time and built her character up. But then you have somebody else who's hurt.
When her knee was hurt, they had her out in the wheelchair all the time too.
Right. Exactly. So, when these stories come, and again, like I said, I'm not trying to paint Britt as anything, but she's just the example I thought of because she is somebody that they kept on TV when she was injured. But then, so say Mercedes Martinez is injured. You didn't put her on TV when she was injured. Jamie's clearly not on TV. They're not, and I'm not saying you put every injured person on TV, but it just seems like
Well, they were trying to build her character really hard, and then that happened, so they kept her on there. And it's like, well, then why we need to see the same motivation for the next woman?
Thank you. Yeah, that's where I was trying to go with that. Yeah,
I think the idea behind that is like, who's the? I mean, you know, they didn't do that with Statlander, where I guess they could have, because with her second knee injury, I mean, they didn't. Whatever.
Yeah.
But they to keep her in the consciousness, because when she came back, she immediately won that belt. So if you were talking about like developing her character during her injury, like maybe she could have been on TV on and again and off again. I don't know how her. I mean, again, recoveries are different for everybody.
Sure. Yeah, and it always depends on the injuries and things that are happening. But then, and then there's even the.
But I mean, it's like the consideration has to be made for the fact that like they did when she was injured, when Britt was injured, they did keep her on TV and they kept doing all the stuff with her and all those things. So like where like, I mean, I guess they've shown that if they want to make a character out of somebody, they can do it.
Yeah, there are ways to do it. Yeah, there are definitely ways. And so
whether it's a lady or a dude, honestly.
Yeah, and so Brad posted this, and this was the tweet that I was referring to at the beginning of the show that I found out, but I wanted to keep it till this part of the conversation. LuFisto, I did not know she shut down her Twitter. I knew she pulled herself from the Beyond Wrestling show for next Sunday. I assume because she's having to deal with a lot. I didn't realize she had shut down Twitter. That's unfortunate. I don't blame her. It's unfortunate.
The problem is, I don't like this. I hope what I don't like is like, if you don't like what someone has to say, that's one thing. But like attacking them to the point of them being like scared or like having to completely leave social media, that sort of thing needs to stop.
Well, Cora Jade just left Twitter like 2 weeks ago. I saw something about her, and she, because of all the toxicity she was getting, and she's gone to Instagram only. And I'm not talking. And this isn't just directed at the wrestlers who came after LuFisto. This is directed towards fans who are telling her that she should unalive herself, and because she had the audacity to speak about her negative experience. Like, that is, people, they need to, I'm not saying AEW condones that, but if you know this stuff is happening, you need to address it. I mean, they didn't do it. Swole was getting death threats and they knew it and didn't address it, which I'm not surprised, but like, you got to think about the things that you're doing. And again, that you can't, and I'm not saying they can control fans. Fans are going to do what they want. We've seen them. I mean, they come after Saraya all the time for Mercedes injuries and blame her for ending Mercedes' career and things like that. Like, that's, all of it is inappropriate. But I just hope that LuFisto, if she's having some mental health struggles, I hope she gets the help that she needs. I hope that she is doing well. I hope that she's able to come back, because this is her livelihood. She does have a successful indie career. She was just in GCW like last month? Yeah, I think it was last month, and she wrestled Utami. Like, so she has a, I hope she can get the help that she needs if she is struggling mentally, and I hope that she just takes care of herself. Daza says to remember Hana Kimura. Yeah,
which is the saddest and worst, most like horrible version of what we're talking about. That's happened with other people before. That's the reason I have a friend who quit Twitter because it killed. He said it killed Twitter.
Yeah, and then that's completely understandable.
That was like the last straw for him. The overwhelming number of people who said so much stuff that it got to such a like young woman about a minor thing that happened on a reality show that was separate from something, to the point where she felt necessary to take her own life.
Right.
Like that kind of like, stop it.
Yeah. That behavior is unacceptable.
I don't care
for any
what
reason.
It's for.
Yeah.
Who we're talking about, or which person. If you don't like a person, you don't like a person. You can disagree with them. You can do all those things. Doxing people, threatening people, hurting people, driving people to throw themselves off buildings, or no.
Yeah.
Stop. You're not a human being. You're trash. You're gross. You're scum. If you are one of those people, you are scum. I scum you.
Yes.
You be scummeth.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just trash.
Yeah, and so this brings back up. So Daza said before this, and before we got into this, Daza said, "Let's face it, them doing this attack opens the door for more fanatical AEW fans to go after LuFisto, which we've seen. I've already seen happen. I saw it happening too, and clearly it's happened to the point where she has deleted
she
her
went
Twitter
off
account,
social
and she is
media, then
now,
she's getting it hard enough to go
and now
off
she's pulling
because
herself. She's losing money, and I mean." That losing money is obviously not the same. Her health comes first, and her mental health comes first. But so now she's lose for the people who said, oh, she's doing this because she didn't get a job with AEW. Well, now she's losing bookings because she pulled herself out and because she's struggling mentally. So that is the cost of what it just to tell you that she had a negative experience in AEW, which is absurd. But it happens all the time with social media because just people get behind screens and get brave and say whatever the hell they want.
Just whatever. They would never say that stuff to your face.
Yeah, Daza said, have any other AEW women come to AEW's defense? Interesting that I haven't seen any. Former AEW women? No, not that I have seen. I don't believe so. I mean, maybe they just don't want to get into it because they're not there anymore. But yeah, I've not seen former. Oh well, other than Swole, who basically was like, I tried to tell you, and now they're doing to her what they did to me. And Nikki says, louder for people in the back, Mel.
It is what it is. Just don't be a shithead. There's no reason for
and
it.
So all of this is super frustrating. It's, again, we don't want to do anything that's spreading gossip, but if it is affecting the women's division and how they are presented on TV and the people who, and if it potentially affects people who come into your company.
Yep.
Like if you
it says that, it tells me a lot about your company's, like, your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your value system. This is where
like we've said, like, you have the right to defend yourself and things like that, but you don't get to negate. So you don't get to tell somebody their experience doesn't matter or that it didn't happen because it makes. And
if I was Mercedes, I would be paying attention to that sort of thing.
Me too.
Because if I can
especially
make
from
my
where
own
she
way, and I just left a company where that kind of catty bullshit was just, like, go for it, girls.
Yeah.
Then why would I want to go back to that even for one show?
Yeah, that's definitely a lot to consider. I mean, maybe she sees it and they're like, "Oh, look, the locker room stands up for each other." But I don't know that that's the way she would view it. Maybe she does view it that way. Maybe she's like, "Wow, look at how supportive they are of one another." Maybe it comes up. Maybe she doesn't.
Maybe. I mean,
just overall,
it just it leaves a bad. How about it leaves a bad taste in my mouth with the way it was handled.
Too. Like, it was almost to the point where if I didn't have to cover Rampage and I wasn't looking for the parking lot fight, I almost just didn't even want to watch because I was just like,
I'm mad at you right now and I don't want to give you my money.
I'm glad that, so maybe it did work out that Nikki's not been cleared and we can't go to Greenville next week or Greensboro next week because I don't really want to give them money right this second. But hopefully they, whatever happens now, hopefully they, despite the terrible way they handled it, or at least to me, the terrible way to handle it, and some people don't think that, but I hope they figure out a way to work together and try to figure out how to fix their women's division. And because that sign was not a lie, we do see some positive things, like Shida won the title, could be setting up some other stories. We're seeing Anna Jay get a shot next week. We're seeing some stuff brewing with Chris Statlander and Mercedes Martinez and Willow and Diamante. Like, we see some new women involved, women they don't really haven't really given a lot of screen time to. There's still Athena being amazing and ROH. So there are some good things there. So hopefully that means they're going to build on it and they're going to improve. And we don't have to wait 5 years for a blood and guts match for women. We don't have to wait 5 years for women to main event a pay-per-view, and that we don't have, and then over on the WWE side of things, that they don't build up big stories on TV and then not let you have them on a pay-per-view and don't give you the payoff and things like that, and they let you finish the damn story and things like that. So at the end of the day, like we always say, we want better for women. We want them to have equity and equality and more than what they are getting now. And hopefully they can move past all of this and do that. Me too, Daza. He said Martina's getting a storyline. It makes me so happy. She's a legend.
Yeah.
She looked great last night. She really, clearly I knew Chris wasn't gonna drop the title, but last night, but I was like, man, if anybody
but
could
that
take
was
that,
a lot of
if
fun. There's
anybody
like
could
a
take that
real
title
angle.
from her, it's Mercedes Martinez.
Well, and they're doing like a real angle there. They're doing storytelling, and people are coming like befriending each other, and there's like
and then
it's kinda
Diamante
cool.
came out with Mercedes, and there might be a little bit of something going on there. So that's really cool to see. I hope they build off of that, and I hope they're not building just for Wembley and All Out. Like you got Grand Slam, you got Winter, you got Full Gear, you got Winter is coming. Then you turn the calendar to next year. So hopefully, I mean, I know I had a lot of hope when the Outcast storyline first started, and that ended up being a bust. But hopefully, I will be cautiously optimistic with what
Never
I'm
give
seeing.
up.
Yes. Yeah, Daza said they worked so well together, natural chemistry. Agreed. Yeah. It was really cool to see.
Good.
And they got time.
Good.
They got 10 minutes last night. And then they got the after stuff. And so that was nice to see. And it was nice to see Anna Jay getting even if it was a pre-tape promo, it was a solid promo from her. And it seems like she's kind of stepping up some. So that's nice to see as well.
Maybe she's improving, like by giving her those opportunities. God forbid.
Right. And then hopefully they'll give them to people like Marina and Penelope Ford, and and when Ty comes back, she gets some of this stuff too. So hopefully the women's division will look better. Maybe 6 months from now it'll look totally different. And then just hopefully going forward, I do hope that people who do have a negative experience with them aren't afraid to talk about their negative experience. And just because it is, we want AEW to succeed. That's one of our favorite companies. We're somebody who we've been watching since day one, and we want these things. And it sucks when people don't have a good thing, but that doesn't. And I'm glad to hear that there are a lot of positive things coming out of that locker room, but just maybe have some damn empathy.
Well, and you have to address both. You have to take the good with the bad, which means addressing that, like, if someone had a bad experience, there's a way better way to handle that than I feel like was handled.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And so, I think we covered everything. We went obviously very long today, but this was something we did not want to ignore. And we were trying to figure out how to handle it without being gossip, spreading gossip and things like
overly speculative, because we're not in those places.
We're not in those places, but we don't want to invalidate something just because it was negative and things like that. And, so we will, I think that covers everything for this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully with less drama to talk about.
More wrestling fun.
Yeah, maybe.
And getting ready for some big time.
So definitely make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube, because there's lots of good things coming. Definitely go check out the SummerSlam stuff. Like, go check out the SummerSlam shorts and stuff like that. And if the shorts are something you like seeing, like, let them know. That might be.
Please comment.
Yeah, that
helps us,
because that might be something we utilize. That Fight Game Media utilizes more, and if there's things that you want to see on the YouTube content, like,
I'm collecting accusations of virtue signaling.
Right? Yeah, we're virtue signaling.
I'm hoping to get one from every
not
state.
Only do we keep time, we signal virtue.
Yeah, we signal virtue. I'm hoping to get a accusation of virtue signaling from all 50 states.
Toni Storm was great on Collision.
Yeah,
that segment with her was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and she just made Toni so uncomfortable, because she was like, look at me, and her robe came open a little bit, and she's trying to talk about the belt, but Toni was just like, she made it was really funny. So there's lots of good things there. Just build on it. just build on it, and it could be really great. Nikki says, great discussion today. It's super important. Y'all handled it very well. Thank you. And Daza said, this has been a great show. Enjoyed it. Thank you. And again, thank you and if you're listening to this on the replay or on audio, and thank you. We know we kept it for a long time today, but a lot of things happen this week. And so hopefully next week will be a little bit more normal, and we'll have positive things to talk about, and more all-in information, and maybe even some all-out information, and stuff like that.
So everybody have an excellent week.
Yes.
Peace out.
We'll see you next Sunday at 1:00.